the live comments box up and running. Here's Mark Goldbridge, and we'll be joined by Joey very, very soon. What have I just done? Might have to wait on that live comments section for a moment. Yeah, we'll wait on that for a minute. I hope. Oh, what have I done? What have I done? Don't do this when you're live, please. This is not what we want. But yeah, let me pause that. Catastrophic, a bit like Manchester United season, but we'll fly into it. I will get the live comments box up because I know that's what everybody likes. But let's start off with the lineup. If you haven't seen the lineup for Manchester United today, it's very simple. It's De Gea in goal, it's Valencia at right back, it's Smalling and Blind at the centre backs, as we would expect, as I multitask here and try and get the comment section up for you as well. And also Borthwick Jackson at left back. I'm pleased with that. No Rojo, not even in the squad, so I don't really know what that's all about, but it's a positive. It's a positive. We can't complain about that. Rooney and Carrick will be the centre midfielder, as we know, and either it'd be Mata or Lingard, I suppose, who will be the number 10. Lingard or Mata then obviously will end up on the right. And we'll go from there with Rashford up front and Martial on the left. So that's what happens with that. But live comments is up and running. Brilliant. I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger because it can be. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So there we are. The drama is over. Yeah, and the substitute bench. Pereira's on the bench. You know, I don't know what Van Gaal's playing at. Yesterday, he came out with an absolute perler, didn't he? Blaming Scholes for being negative about him, and that's why he's going to lose his job. Yeah, have a pop at a United legend. Brilliant, Louis. You've had such a good season. We'll really back you on that. And then he's thrown Pereira on the bench for the first time in what feels like years. And we've been wanting that for ages. You know, I think they just think Man United fans are stupid. Let's keep Louis van Gaal. What's going to make them happy? But the bench is Romero, Phil Jones. He needs to be sold. Varela, where's he been since he was thrown under the bus by Van Gaal in the Liverpool game? Ashley Young, where's he been for weeks? I think he might have had an injury in fairness. Herrera on the bench, and Pereira and Memphis. No Schneidlin, no Fosu Mensah. I mean, He's an advocate of youth, though, isn't he? I mean, why is Fosu Mensah not playing? Maybe he is injured. I know he was carrying a bit of an injury the other day as well. But why is that not working? Live comments. Hopefully that will work. I don't want it not working. It is working now. So, right. Bit of teething problems there. As I said, I will be joined by Joey very, very shortly. But what I wanted to do, first of all, is start talking a little about Manchester United. Bit of a meltdown off my personal Twitter account. If you don't follow that, it's at Mark Goldbridge. I'm excited about this watch along as well, Rudo. I just want to jump in there, Rudo Abu Baker. Everybody kicking off at 3 o'clock. Slim chance of fourth place, which I'll talk about in a moment. But everyone's kicking off at 3 o'clock. At the end of the game, the players will obviously come on the pitch. Is it going to be Carrick's last game? He deserves an applause. One of my favourite players of the last 10 years. Absolutely love Carrick. Totally deserves the applause. Will Van Gaal come out and give a speech? Will United fans stay for it? Will they boo it? Will they applaud it? Personally, don't be a hypocrite. If I was there, and I'd love to be there today, and for all those people who say, oh, you don't go to games, I don't go to games because I do the United stand. I used to go quite regularly up until the start of this. If I was there today, would I walk out? No, I'd be intrigued to see what Van Gaal's got to say. I'd probably slow clap him or not clap at all. I wouldn't applaud him because I think that's hypocritical. How can 99% of the fans be absolutely furious with him and then applaud him? You're mugging yourself off. So no, I wouldn't do a walkout like City. I wouldn't boo him. I don't think that's right, but I certainly wouldn't applaud him. But bit of a meltdown, as I said on Twitter before. That's why I wanted to come on slightly earlier. On my personal account at Mark Goldbridge, I basically said last night, I tweeted out and I said, I hope that Manchester City don't mess it up because getting fourth place means Louis van Gaal. There, I've said it. I was honest. I will always be honest. Well, the meltdown from Super Reds and everybody else saying, oh, look at this melt, tweeting out stuff like this. Not a United fan, doesn't go to games, this, that and the other. You know what? I've never disrespected publicly anybody's Manchester United opinion because football is about opinion. I never say agree with me. I know a lot of you do. I know a fair few of you don't. But it's never personal. It's never abusive. And I don't ever try to tell somebody how to support Manchester United. I never want Manchester United to lose. On Tuesday night against West Ham, if we'd won, and we would have won today, we will win today, we would have got fourth place. I don't want Van Gaal here, but I would never want Manchester United to lose. Today, it's different. Whether we win or not, if Man City draw or win, they'll get fourth place. And I'll be totally honest with you now, you can say it's controversial, but if top four means we keep Van Gaal, which I've always felt it would, then I hope Man City get the job done today. I hope we absolutely batter Bournemouth. I hope Pereira gets on. I hope Rashford scores. I hope we play really well and it's exciting to watch. But I don't want fourth place because I think that's what Van Gaal will bring. Van Gaal will stay. And I think that's, as I've been saying for a number of weeks now, it's short-term pain for long-term gain. We've got to get Mourinho. We've got to get rid of Van Gaal. And I think the club would love to keep Van Gaal. And if they will do if we get fourth place. So if that's not being a United fan in your opinion, that's fine. But don't tell me I'm not a United fan. I suppose in many ways the people who do that are braver United fans because they're actually putting their not reputation on the line, but they're actually making a brave decision. And you're going to get the happy clappers who come out and say, oh, support the club, win, lose or draw. Well, I do support the club. I probably support the club more than most because I actually am willing to sacrifice a season of not being in the Champions League to get rid of somebody who I think is destroying our club. So that's where I stand on it. And if people don't understand or respect that, that's fine. You don't have to. But don't start going on about me being a plastic fan or not being a real fan just because your opinion differs to mine. If you want to go to Old Trafford, applaud Van Gaal and everything like that, then I'd quite happily say, why have you been having a go at him all this year? It's like I said, Alex is on the show at 9 o'clock tonight and he won't get away with this. He's bought the latest United kit, but all season he's been moaning about Van Gaal, and I said to him on Twitter, and I'll say it to him tonight on the show, so that'll be interesting. You've got no right, in my opinion, to have a go about Van Gaal and Woodward when you're rushing out to buy the latest top. Have some. Personally, that's what I think. Have some credibility and respect for yourself. Stop putting money in their pocket. I know it won't make a massive difference, but don't. I like the new kits, but I'm not going to buy one. I'm more of a tracksuit top man, as you know. But there's some nice new tracksuit tops out. I'm not buying one because I'm not putting money into the club when I disagree with what they're doing. The minute they get it right, I will, but not for the moment. So if you're new to the United stand, baptism of fire there, but I do say what I think. But I do respect all United fans' opinion. If you want to go and applaud today, then I'm not, somebody, Lynn Hall, who I really respect, she gets involved a lot, and I'm going to get in some of your comments at the moment. She was like, Mark, the United stand should go to Old Trafford today with an LVG banner out, and if you do it, I'll do it, and we'll get loads of people to do it. And I said, that's not my cup of tea to do that. That's not what I do. I personally respect everybody. It's a personal opinion, and I respect everybody's personal opinion about what they want to do. And for me, standing outside with a banner outside, it just doesn't fit in with. I don't agree with that. I think there's better ways of doing it, and I will do a personal thing. I won't impose it on people. I will not buy things from the club until they make a decision that I agree with. And the United stand is all about fan opinion, and that's what we want. So people can dig it out and say they don't agree with it, but ultimately the message of the United stand has always been that we want the fans to have a voice, and I think you do, and it's going to get better and better hopefully. Mark, make the live comment section scroll faster. It's too slow. It will scroll faster the quicker the comments there are on there. That's how that works. James Kidman, I agree, Mark. I love United, but I won't spend money whilst the Glazers are there. The money should be going back into the club, not into the pocket of those who leeches. Yeah, and I'd agree with that. If Mourinho's manager after the FA Cup final next Monday, I'll go and treat myself to a tracksuit top. And, I'm not stupid. I would agree with that appointment, and I will back the club financially. I'm still backing the clubs financially anyway with Sky Sports and BT Sports, and I accept that my Sky Sports subscription is going up this summer, and that's more money into the Glazers and Woodward. Will I stop Sky Sports? That's a big decision I've got to make over the summer, but I think I'll make it. I think I will, because I don't want, if Van Gaal's in charge, I think I will do it, because I've got to stand by what I believe. I know a lot of you won't do it. I'm not imposing it on you. You've got to make your own choice, because it's like when people say everybody should walk out. No, but not everyone will walk out. Everybody's got different things. Some United fans have been going there all their life, 40, 50 years. They're not going to, they've seen the club relegated. They're not going to give their season ticket up. It's a personal choice. But for me, I hope City get the job done today. I hope we don't get top four, because it will be the biggest chance for Van Gaal to be got rid of. I'm not saying he still will. They might still try and keep him. I don't know how they can do, because I think a lot of clubs, a lot of the fans will make it very, very obvious today in the ground. And I think a lot of fans will make it very obvious after today with season ticket renewals and merchandise and things like that. I think they'll have to get rid of him. But we'll just have to wait and see. But it's a personal choice, and that's what I wanted to say about that. But team news, as I said, not massively surprised by it. No Schneiderlin, no Fosu Mensah. Quite surprised by that. Schneiderlin, as I've said before, I just want to have a quick chat about him. 2 years in a row, arguably the best Premier League midfielder, especially defensive midfielder, which is what we need. Destroyed by Van Gaal. Add him to the list. Di Maria. Rooney's been destroyed by Van Gaal. Mata, destroyed by Van Gaal. Van Persie. It kills me that he's not here. Destroyed by Van Gaal. Hernandez, destroyed by Van Gaal. The attack, basically, Pereira, destroyed by, Memphis. Every attacking player destroyed by Van Gaal because he is so restrictive and he is a dictator, and that's the sort of manager he is. So, Schneider didn't add him to the list. Stephen Bell, what the fuck? Why would you say you hope City wins? Stephen, we've just been talking about this. It's a personal choice. I think getting fourth place means Van Gaal stays. I'm short-term pain, long-term gain. I'm not happy about it. It's going to be very difficult, but I've got to the point now where I've accepted not getting top four. I can deal with it if it means Van Gaal goes. And that means I don't want City to win. I want us to win. But it's a personal choice. Stop taking a pop at fans because they want City to lose or they want City to draw. The reality is it comes down to a very simple thing. Some people are thinking about a long-term plan. Some people just want to be in the Champions League. I don't mind what you want to do. Just don't take a pop at fans saying they're not real United fans because they want Van Gaal to go. That is a long-term plan for Manchester United. If you want short-termism, if you want Champions League and you want Van Gaal to stay, you want us to get knocked out of the group stage straight away, you want another boring season, because that's what I think the reality is, then you want that. You want City to lose today, you want United to win. Personally, I don't want Van Gaal at the club. I want Manchester United to start building properly. The last 3 years have been a joke, and I will sacrifice Champions League football to get that. And I believe that's what I believe. That's what I believe. If you don't believe it, that's fine. Timmo says, what's going to happen with the speech? I think it's going to be interesting. I think the only thing that Van Gaal can say to get an applause today is, I'm leaving the club because Paul Scholes forced me out. And he will get a massive cheer. But what can he say? What can he say? I think United fans, for all their bravado, I think they'll clap him. And I think that's ridiculous. He doesn't deserve to be clapped at all. He really doesn't. He's been absolutely shocking. But I do think that will happen. I really do. Because I think United fans, in a way, and I respect them for this, I think they like to have a bit of class, and I just think they will respect him. But there you go. Everton have approached Mourinho, says XX Expert 54XX Gaming. What if he takes that job? It's a bit like Emmerdale approaching Leonardo DiCaprio. Mourinho is not going to go to Everton unless we've snubbed him, and that's his only option. The reality is he wants the United job. He'll only go to PSG, Everton or anywhere else if we snub him. And that I've always said that for a long time. He wants this job. Cristanto Santoso, love the name. Sign in Ibrahimovic. I'm not thinking about that one too much because the thing about Ibrahimovic is it is really exciting. But it won't happen if we keep Louis van Gaal. We need to get Mourinho. But I would take Ibrahimovic for a year. I think it'd be I'd be really excited about that. So that'd be great. Hope the fans show their anger, says Ravens Claude. Any sniper at OT at full time for Louis van Gaal, says Chris Goyne. I don't know any United fan who wants Louis van Gaal to stay, says Dave Poulton. I don't, but there are a lot of fans who want City to blow it today and us to get top four. And my personal stance on that is it'll mean Louis van Gaal will stay. But short-termism over long-termism, I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to see what his speech is going to be, to be honest, because I can't understand what he would say, but what he can say. But he'll always try something, I suppose. Jimmy, is Ibrahimovic a good player to sign, or should we just let our youngsters do their thing? I think we need a striker no matter what, and I think if you get Mourinho, he will use Rashford. But I think even if Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge and Rashford had come through, I'd still be saying we need to buy number 9 because we need somebody else. It's unfair for Rashford to have it all on his shoulders. Martial's doing a great job out on the left, so I would get somebody else in. And also, if you look at Mourinho's career, he's always had a number 9 who he can rely on, who's top of their game, who gets 30 goals a season. When you think of the likes of Drogba, Costa in his Chelsea stays, and obviously Real Madrid, Inter, he's always had a number 9. And I think Ibrahimovic, or I've just got a funny feeling. And for those who are watching now, you can remember I said this. I've just got a funny feeling that Aubameyang may happen. I know he wants to go to Madrid, but what you want and what you get, and he'd be perfect. He's 27, he can play anywhere along the front three. He's big, he's fast, he's agile. He'd be perfect. But I'm a fantasist. I love Ibrahimovic, and I think for 1 year to get him at Manchester United, because he doesn't rely on pace. Age is the big thing for him. Age is the thing, and whether he can stay fit for a season. But I would take him for a year because I think it's exciting. We want some excitement and passion back in the club. Marino will stand up on the side, will love that, and Ibrahimovic is a very, very passionate individual. I was going to see where Joey is, because I know I did tell him to Skype me, but he might not know to do that. So let's see if we can get him on. Yeah, so I'm going to fly into some of your comments as well while that's happening, and we're ringing Joey. He might not be ready, he may well be ringing me, in which case, kill that, because it looks absolutely rubbish on the screen. We'll wait. Possibly not ready. Let me get back to you lot. Sup, Mark, says Matthew Gilligan. I'm good. I mean, how are you all feeling? I suppose it is the United stand. Sack the idiot, says Jose Marino. I hope it is Jose. How are you all feeling about this? I'm a little bit tentative, if I'm honest, because I've nailed my flag to the mast, so to speak. I mean, I'm not going to be... If City mess up and we win, and I will be happy, obviously, I will be happy, and I will laugh at City because I think it's very funny. I'll be very nervous, though, because I'll think the club are going to keep Van Gaal, and that concerns me. So I am a little bit tentative, but whatever happens, I want Manchester United to win, and I'm excited about that. It'd be nervy if City don't, because I just think we'll keep Van Gaal. And my excitement, my logic is that if we don't get top four, we'll get Marino. If we get top four, we'll get Van Gaal. So it is quite nervous. But Jimmy, how did you get the background to look so good? Secrets of the trade. Draughty devil. John IRT has been consistent all season, and he says, good luck attracting any top players in the summer if Louis Van Gaal in charge. I just don't know whether those hardcore United fans, I call them, who are like calling people plastic because they want Van Gaal out and they'll sacrifice top four for it. Have they really thought it through, or do they just want is it that important that we finish above City just to them end of the day? If that's the case, then fair enough. But yeah, we'll have the same rubbish football next season. He's been here for 2 years. He's never going to change. He's a stubborn old goat. He's going to pick the same likes of Fellaini. We'll be an embarrassment in the Champions League. We won't win the league, and we'll really struggle to bring players in. So that's the reality if we keep Van Gaal. And that's what I fear fourth place will mean. If we get Marino, loads of players will want to come and play for him. You get George Mendes, you get excitement, you get some passion. So yeah, I'll be excited about that. Joey's aiming for 7:30 or a little after because he wants to have a shower. That's fine. So yeah, so get commenting. Let us know what are you feeling. What are you feeling? What do you want to happen? It's a difficult day for United fans, and I this frustrates me about the club, because it's like you putting us into. It's been such a horrific season. Embarrassment in the Champions League group. Embarrassment in December losing to rubbish teams. Embarrassment over 2 legs to our main rivals in the Europa League, Liverpool. And embarrassment on Tuesday night, no fights. We've had the fans have endured a lot, and now we're in this horrific situation. And I only blame Van Gaal, the players, and the board for this. That we are now having to. Fans are split on what they want today, because it's whether you go for the short term. I mean, some people think if we get top four, Van Gaal will still go. I don't believe that at all. But give us your thoughts. Adam Bosher, did you have a good birthday, Mark? Yeah, I did. Thanks very much. Thanks for that. I'd like to see Giggs trying his managerial skills out with the under-18s. Yeah, I've heard the idiot who said that. Absolutely ridiculous, stupid idea. He needs to go and manage a proper club. Managing the under-18s or being an assistant manager, the past is absolutely full of that being a big mistake. Just because you're a good assistant manager. Paul Clement at Real Madrid, he went to Derby and absolutely fell on his arse. You've got to manage clubs. Respect to Steve Bruce. He'll never be Manchester United manager, but he's gone and managed clubs. Respect to Roy Keane. Respect to Brian Robson. They tried it, they failed. That's what Giggs needs to do. Go and manage the 18s in a security blanket. That's what United did. My massive, I'm not anti-Giggs, but my dream scenario is that Class of 92 take over Manchester United, because they know the club back to front, they know about the youth, they know about the way we should play, 100%. You listen to Paul Scholes and what he says in the media, brilliant. I would love them to be Manchester United managers of the future. But for the sake of gigs, he needs to go out and do it. He needs to go out and do it in the real world. You can't manage the under-18s or be a reserve manager or an under-18 manager and then take the job. Yeah, I know it happens in Barcelona, but that's bloody... They play Real Madrid twice a year and 19 pub teams. It's very different to the Premier League, and I don't think Giggs is anywhere near ready. And managing the under-18s is going to help him be ready in 2 years. No, he needs to go off, manage a club. And I don't even think Celtic, because I think that's easy. I think Swansea was available. Why didn't he go and do that? Team news, Stephen Bowles. Team news, United are expected to be without Darmian again due to ankle injury, while Fellaini is serving the final game. FA Cup next week. Can't wait. Loads of stuff planned for the channel. The Watchalong is going to start about 4 hours before the cup final. And we've got loads of shows. We're live at Old Trafford and all sorts like that. So loads planned for that, so get involved for that. And I am excited about the FA Cup. I really want us to get some silverware. For anybody who says, oh, I don't want to risk winning it to get rid of Louis van Gaal, that's ridiculous. When you're in a cup final, personally, I want to win it. We haven't won it for so long. I don't care if I'm trying to think of somebody I hate that I can actually say on this channel. I don't care if John Terry's in charge of Man United. I still want us to win the FA Cup next week. That live comments box looks absolute rubbish, doesn't it? So let me change that because it's overlapping. That's what you want. Add it. Silence is no good. There we go. Yeah, so Mark, this is the best United fan channel, even better than the other one, so well done. Well, we are the only 100% independent Manchester United fan channel, so we do get away with being 100% a fan channel and saying what we think, and it's not always popular, especially when I'm opening my mouth. If you saw the Twitter fallout on my account earlier. Afternoon, Lynn Hall, afternoon. But we will always say what we think. And you know what? People say we're very negative, and I know we've been very negative, but you're going to see a massive change with the United stand if things happen how I want them to happen. If we get Mourinho, then I'm not going to be negative. I'm not going to say it's going to work either, but we'll have to. But I will back him, and I think he's the best option we can go for at the moment. But my dream is that in 2 or 3 years' time, we get somebody from the class of '92. I would love that. I really do buy into that. Just none of them are ready. It's too big a risk now. I think people underestimate what a mess we've been in for the last 3 years, and we can't afford another year of it because we will become Liverpool. We've got to make these changes now. We've got to make it work now, and that's the way I feel about it. But sacrifice top 4 to get Louis van Gaal out, says Tox Kazim. I'm there. Animal says, well, do you think City are going to screw it up? For those who aren't aware, it's been rumoured this week, and I think it's been confirmed now with the Swansea lineup, that they are resting players, which I find absolutely unbelievable because they are safe in the Premier League, we know. But why are Swansea resting players? They're not in a cup final, they're not in the Champions League, but there are 1 or 2 who are going to be playing in the Euros in a month, so they're resting them. I mean, I suppose there's a lot of United fans out there who that really, really frustrates because you really want to get 4th place. And it is disgusting, and the Premier League should do something about it. I agree with that. It's just, it isn't fair. It isn't right at all. But it's just typical, isn't it? I think the worst result today, I think the best result is, because I can't see City losing. They've been given a second chance because we had no backbone on Tuesday night. But the worst result is if City draw, because then we win and we'll finish on the same points as them, but their goal difference is almost double. I mean, we've scored. I mean, this is the pitying thing. As it stands at the moment, we've scored. We are bottom of the league at the 92 clubs in English football for goals scored at home. At Old Trafford, the Theatre of Dreams, and it's the Theatre of Dreams, literally, because everyone's asleep. Nightmares. Carrick needs a testimonial, for God's sake, says N. Krishna. Well, echoes of the past and the bad board again, isn't it? Because at the end of Moyes' season, didn't we lose Ferdinand and Evra and they got nothing? You know, I don't think Ferdinand even got to play. So don't hold your breath, Michael, although he totally deserves one. Orange Hat 1. Mark, I thought you said one day we're going to get the class of '92 on this show. I'd like to. Mark, who do you think will be our first signing if we get Mourinho? Well, I do think Ibrahimovic is going to sign. He's going to sign for somebody very soon. He's dropping his hints. He knows where he's going to go. I think a lot of signings. I was saying this last night. I might not have put the video up yet, actually, because I haven't. I've recorded something. So I was saying it last night, but none of you would have heard it. I think Ibrahimovic, if he's coming to United, could happen very soon in the next couple of weeks. I think after that, I think we'll be linked, excitingly, hopefully with Mourinho in charge, to a lot of players. But I don't think we'll be signing players before July, because obviously a lot of players are going to be involved in the Euros. So that's what I think will happen with that. But oh, Joey's making a sandwich, then he'll be on. Can't get the staff these days. Can't get the staff, but he can do a bit of the talking when I take over. So yeah, I do think Ibrahimovic will happen. You know what though? I'll have a lot of time for Ibrahimovic if he comes to United, because he doesn't need to come to United by any means, and he could just oh, it's Joey. Look, live. You're straight on, Joey.
How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm all right.
Okay.
Saw the lineup a little bit ago.
Okay.
That's not really shocking, right?
I'll talk to you about that in a moment. I've just gone very yellow on screen for some reason. I don't know why Joey would make me go yellow, but it's probably the sun. It'd be the sun outside. I haven't got liver cancer, don't worry, or any sort of cancer, hopefully. But yeah, the Ibrahimovic I think is quite interesting, because if he comes to United, he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to is what I was going to say, because he can go to China, he can go to America, and he can earn a lot of money. If he comes to the Premier League, that says to me that he wants to do the Premier League. He wants it on his CV, and I'd really welcome that. So I won't be surprised if it doesn't happen. It won't happen if Louis van Gaal stays, but it will happen if it could happen if Mourinho comes. But I'll get your thoughts on that in a moment, Joe. But thoughts on the lineup. Old Trafford's been evacuated apparently. Every time we do a watch-along, it gets delayed by about 45 minutes. I was going to say we're only 15 minutes off the start of the game, and it's sorry, folks. Every time we do a watch-along, it seems to get delayed. So that's going to make it very interesting. We could kick off and know fourth place is actually gone. Madness, absolutely madness. But we've always got stuff to talk about, and we might actually dip into some of the stuff for the 9 o'clock show. But yeah, Joey, give us your thoughts on the lineup.
Not really surprising. I saw Rojo is out through injury, Schneiderlin out through illness, which I don't believe the Schneiderlin illness. I don't think he's sick all of a sudden. I just think him and LVG just don't get along, and that's understandable. But I mean, as far as the lineup's gone, I mean, what more can I really ask for? I would like to see Pereira in there, but LVG's probably sitting there delusionally thinking that we can still get fourth. I kissed that dream goodbye when we lost to West Ham. So, yeah, I mean, it's the lineup. It is what it is. It's the last game of the season. I think it'll be treated as such. I don't think there's going to be anything, I think players are already on vacation, to be honest, and I think we could be in for a boring game.
Yeah, kickoff has been delayed by 45 minutes at the moment. Old Trafford is absolutely empty. I was hoping for a moment that it was a protest to get Louis van Gaal out, but there is no protest. I mean, the game could get cancelled. I don't know why it's been delayed. So if people want to get involved in the live comment section, I've just got to mess around with a few tweets, because obviously we know that is going to affect the start of the game. But Pereira's on the bench as we venture to try and find out what the delay is about. Pereira's on the bench again, Joey. Is he trying to curry favour at the last minute with United fans? I don't know what that's all about.
No, I think he's been on the bench a few times. I know he might not have been on it for a while now, but I would be surprised if he even got in the game, to be honest. I don't know if it's because he's Brazilian. I don't know if maybe he's a little immature. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of things I don't know behind the situation. But, to give debuts, I mean, we would have thought Pereira would have been one of the first people he gave a debut to, and
yeah,
and he didn't. And he still, I don't think he started him in a league game. So it's an interesting one with Pereira.
Breaking news, large section of the stadium being evacuated as players were told to return to the dressing room. We'll keep an eye on that, because I don't actually know what it is. Hopefully it's nothing terrorism related. We can say that, can't we? Because if it is, I don't think the game will go ahead, which is a bit of a shame. But you could... the interesting thing is that none of the other games are going to get held up, I don't think. So the Premier League's love of having every game kick off at the same time is quite interesting. So, but I was talking a little bit about Ibrahimovic there. Lucius, that's not a very nice thing to say. Talking a bit about Ibrahimovic there. Joey. What's your thoughts
Yeah,
on that?
he's a great player. He's still got something in him, I think. But I like what you were saying earlier about coming to the Premier League. I think he would have to want. Yeah, he hasn't won the Champions League in his long, illustrious career. So to come to us, you know, it's a little strange. But I guess if Mourinho does come in, he wrote in his autobiography how much his passion and his love for Mourinho. So I mean, you could see it happening. He's still a good player, but it's hard to adapt to the Premier League, especially at his age. I think he could still bag 10 goals, 10, 15 goals maybe in the league. But I would like to see a younger, in his prime striker brought in. I would like to see two brought in. So if you were going to bring in Ibrahimovic, you still have to bring in another one. Because I think, when you have a stable of strikers, that's when Man United seem to be at their best.
Yes. I've done a bit about Ibrahimovic. It's no lie that there's a film going up. There's the video going up tomorrow about him actually. So I have done a bit of research. But we all know about Ibrahimovic anyway. I just want to say to the Draughty Devil, we have slightly changed the watch along now. The person on the left, mainly because of Zara, but Joey's debuting it today. You all wanted the picture to be a bit bigger of the guest, so that's now slightly bigger. We've got little things going off around. I think the United stand thing up there is now twisting a little bit as well. All sorts going on, and the blue box here, that will have the time in it. So little things going on there. So drop us a like and subscribe if you like the United stand. Lots going on at the moment, but very much about fan opinion, which is always the way. But talking about Ibrahimovic, because we'll have to talk again. I think we've only done about 5 watch-alongs, and I think 4 of them have been delayed, certainly 3. But yes, Ibrahimovic doesn't rely on pace, brilliant with his back to goal, very agile for his size, very powerful, very strong. So his age isn't important in the sense of pace because he's not pace reliant. He's good at holding the ball up. If we've got quick wingers and midfielders who actually get in the box, he'd be brilliant at that. But what he's also going to be very good at, if we get him, is we haven't got a number 9 who can battle centre backs and around in and around the box. He can do that. Rashford can't do it. Martial can't do it. Rooney can't do it. He'll fight. He's passionate. He probably won't track back, but actually, as a number 9, do we need him to track back any more than the corners and centre circle? Let him do his damage up there. That's what your number 9's there to do. So I think it'd be really good. I just think, if he does it, brilliant, really excited. He's almost Cantona-esque. He's got so much belief in himself. We want that. It's that arrogant, he's not arrogant, just better attitude, which is what we want. And I'll have a lot of time for him because I think he could just go and earn some easy money, and it would clearly be he wants the Premier League on his CV. Whether it's going to happen or not, I don't know. But there we go. Old Trafford evacuated, like I said, looking at least a 45-minute delay until kick-off. So we will stay live until the kick-off. We'll be keeping a very close eye on what's going on with the City game because that will obviously kick off. I presume everyone isn't going to get delayed for 45 minutes because that would be ridiculous. And by the time we kick off, Aguero could have bagged himself a hat-trick and it could be well and truly over. But we'll see what happens.
I expect that. So I expect them to just come out 4, 5, 6 and just put it on them.
Yeah.
I really do. I expect it to be over by the 10th, 15th minute. That's the thing, with City, not all the time, most of the time, more recent memory, when their backs are against the wall, they get it done.
Yeah, I mean, they should have got it done last week, but in fairness, they were playing Arsenal. I think some people forget that they were playing Arsenal, so, Arsenal.
That was a really weird game, too. I don't know, did you watch it?
I did. I kept an eye on it. I did keep an eye on it, but I thought City are a bunch of mercenaries at the end of the day, aren't they? So you never know what you're going to get. I totally agree with that. But I was talking about this before. I mean, I'll throw this question to you, Joe, and definitely take a bit of time on it. I put a tweet out yesterday. In fact, our old friend Ben Speech sort of threw me under the bus a little bit, retweeting it, even though I know for a fact he's been saying stuff about Van Gaal being out for a long time. But you might share Ben's opinion. I'm not throwing him under a bus. I'm just saying he's one of the ones with Stretty News who started trying to make news out of it. But I basically said last night that I hope City don't mess up today because I think if we get 4th, we'll keep Van Gaal, and I'm ready to play the long-term game. And that's where I'm at. A lot of United fans would love City to mess up and we'll get 4th place, but I think that means we keep Van Gaal. And that's where I'm at. Some people have said you're not a proper United fan for wanting that. I respect those fans who want City to lose and us to get 4th place, but I think you've also got to respect the fact that you will not get top four.
I think
you will keep Van Gaal. Sorry.
I think it's an interesting one because you look at all the media backlash, and forget the media too, just the fan backlash. I think it's known. I think if Ed Woodward has to be an idiot if he doesn't know himself that the fans just don't want him. And at the end of the day, he has failed to live up to expectations. Top four and a trophy, yes, they were probably the bare minimum this year. But given the money spent, given the way that he didn't even challenge for the league, and given the unaesthetically pleasing football, I mean, it's a no-brainer he has to go. And especially, I've been thinking about this also recently. When Fergie left, there was a few managers available. I think it was Pep Ancelotti. I think that was his first year at Real Madrid. And Jose was back at Chelsea the following season. They had a decision to make, and they went with David Moyes, and it cost them. Cost him a lot of money, cost him 3 years, maybe potentially 4. Is he going to make the same mistake again? I really can't see that happening. I think he'd be an idiot to let that happen, and I think he needs to hire the best manager available. I think, when you're looking at, their criteria for a manager, Jose Mourinho fits it all. Serial winner, Premier League winner, which, it's very hard to find. I mean, unless you're Fergie or Wenger, I can't remember you. Well, there's some other managers, but there isn't many managers that have won the Premier League. Add Ranieri to the list now, crazy. So I think, given all that, I think even if he did somehow scrape fourth, I think he's got to go, and I think you can avoid a backlash from him, and a whole bunch of crap if he wins the FA Cup because he goes out on a high. That strokes his ego. He can then for the rest of his life tell people, "Oh, I had another year left on my deal, but." They didn't want me, and I won the FA Cup. I finished fourth once, So I think either way, it's a win-win. I don't have a problem with people if they want to finish fifth, because in reality, we're not going to win the Champions League next year anyway. No. So yeah, it's nice to be in it, but I look at Arsenal fans, and that would be their best hope is to finish outside the top four. And I even heard Arsenal fans say that. There's a protest going on with some of their fans, and it's understandable. You can respect that side. I think everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I think when you try and goof someone, or retweet something, it's retarded. But I think he's gone no matter what. That's just my personal point of view. If we get fourth, great. I'm kind of resigned to the fact that it's not going to happen. It was in our hands, and we messed it up. But again, we didn't lose it last week at West Ham. We lost it when we drew twice to Newcastle. We lost it over December with all those games, and they didn't get sacked. We lost it in the summer when he didn't sign a world-class proven striker. So, you can look at one moment, you can look at them all, but I'll be happy to see him gone. He probably called it a bomb threat to prolong his time at United.
It does frustrate me a bit, but I don't expect the fans to be, we're treated like mushrooms. But you know what? If somebody said, I think a lot of us, me included, if we knew that Van Gaal was going, then I would be praying for City to lose today. Because top four with Champions League football with Mourinho is better than Champions League without Mourinho. The thing is, a lot of us quite rightly fear the fact that if we get top four, they'll keep Van Gaal, and that's why you have to make that decision. And I've said before, it frustrates the hell out of me that the club have left us in that situation. Talking of tweets, I've just got to mention a couple one we've just tweeted out, which was the Old Trafford's looking like empty. The Etihad on a match day at the moment, absolutely empty. And then the other one, I think it was who was it who sent? I think it was Steve on the comments box there. He said, "Take a look at Adam McCullough's latest tweet, where he's just tweeted out hasn't got a clue what's going on." I'm sure he's referring to to Old Trafford, but never a truer tweet. You know what I mean. MUTV is down apparently as well. Leave Van Gaal out. Man City are coming out, so they're not delayed. 100% we are delayed. Stephen Bell, the evacuation taking place at Old Trafford has cleared out the entire Stretford end and the Sir Alex Ferguson stand. We understand that the evacuation concerns these two stands alone. So if that's true, what Stephen is saying, then I don't know whether it'd be a bomb threat, because you wouldn't leave two other stands sat in there to watch it. I
saw a tweet that said that they were being evacuated, and then they were telling them to walk away from the stadium.
Right.
So, Stuart Mathisen said, despite evacuation, Fred the Red is still warming up on the pitch. So, I don't know how serious it can be.
It is a bit odd. I think The thing is, though, if there is anything of serious concern, and we always fear that this will happen in world football at some point, then the game will be cancelled, which would be an absolute shame. Which would be an absolute shame, but would be really weird, because what if City go and win, and we've got to reschedule this game? It'd be totally pointless. We may as well just take a draw, haven't we, Joey?
Now we can live watch the City game.
Yeah,
we can watch it. We can live watch. We can watch our top four and just go away.
Yeah, we'll do that. Talking United, obviously, because that's what we are a United fan channel. But we could well be watching top four go. I'll tell you what. I don't know whether I'll enjoy the second half if we mess up top four. But we will do. I'm more interested to see. Maybe it is a bomb threat, and maybe it's 2 hours too early. It was meant to go off when Van Gaal was there. The ground literally swallowing him up. But there we go. Let's have a look at some of yours. Breaking news game called off. Be interesting. I don't know whether that will happen, but just gonna have a quick look, because we are live, so it's very difficult to know. Currently, Stuart from Stretford End, currently meeting going on with senior MUFC plus security in South Stand to determine next move. As I said a few minutes ago, I wouldn't be surprised if it's called off, because if it's a security concern, there's people there at the ground saying that even police don't know what's happening. It's really interesting. It really is interesting, Joe, because if City did mess up and this game gets called off, it's ridiculous. But if City don't mess up, what is the point? What is the point in playing it?
This is the best tweet ever. Just tell them to skip the first half. We do it all the time.
Yeah. Well, the City game has kicked off, as a few of you have been saying.
Here it goes.
And I'd expect City will absolutely make this irrelevant, and it's very difficult anyway. I was going to say that as bad as we've been, I would expect us to beat Bournemouth today, because what have they got to play for? They're safe, Teams are on the beach at this time of the year, and Swansea will be on the beach. I'm sure they'll have a go. I'm sure Swansea will have a go, but I don't think they're going to. Man City, it's massive for Man City. You're playing for top four. You can't underestimate that. And, City have got a lot of good players. I don't know whether David Silva's fit. I think he always makes them tick. But they've got Aguero, they've got De Bruyne, who I'd be amazed if he's not playing. In fact, he is playing. Silva's not playing. I think he's injured. But
Iheanacho.
Yeah.
I don't see a Yaya Toure out there, though.
Apparently somebody's left a bag under a seat, which wouldn't surprise me. We do live in a high security, and rightly so, environment, especially in the UK, where, as Joey has in America, there's a high state of security, and everybody says that a terrorist attack is going to happen. It's fully expected at some point. So they do have to act. I don't think anybody would say that they can't. They're wrong to do that. But it'd be nice to get the game played, because if City do their job, then having to play this game again would just be an absolute farce, wouldn't it? But
it would be like the last two seasons where there was nothing to play for at the end of the year, last game.
Yeah. Which is yeah.
Oh, uh-oh.
I suppose what we could say, Joey, is we'd sort of figure out then, although it might be different. What the Man City game that I can see, we're just coming up for 1 minute and 50 seconds.
You're 10 seconds ahead of me.
So at least we'll know that. How the watch-along works, if it actually does start, the blue thing will be when the kickoff has started. Obviously, we'll update the scores. We don't show the game live because we can't do that, but we do talk about the game as it goes along. And you're all very welcome for joining us as per usual. There are a lot of Premier League games going off at the moment. For those of you who do fantasy Premier League, I'm at the top of my league at the moment and could win a couple of £100, and I've gone for Aguero captain. Traitor, I know, but sometimes you've got to play the long game. City very neatly just scored there, but it's still 0-0 at the moment, and I think that sort of sets the tone that it will happen. The match is delayed again, Freaky DZ, but as it is delayed, I will just throw a question over to Joey that I think it is quite important that we ask this question as well, is that if we keep Van Gaal, and nobody... I was saying this to somebody last night, you get Balaguer, you get Di Marzio, these are full-time journalists who get paid a lot of money, but actually, They know sod all about what's happening with Mourinho and Van Gaal. And the reason nobody knows sod all is because you got some people saying, like Sky Italia said on Thursday night that Mourinho was going to be announced within hours, which I think anybody sane pretty much knew that wasn't going to happen. Although in Italy, hours can mean weeks. And then you've got Sky Sports in England on Friday night saying there's no agreement with Mourinho, and it's like one extreme to the other. The reality is I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen, apart from people within the club. And it could be that Mourinho deal is already set. It could be that Van Gaal, they want to stay. It could be that they haven't made a decision yet. But your thoughts on that, Joey? Because I know the press in America is slightly different, and you don't get a load of nonsense. And just to say, it's been delayed for 45 minutes, as we know at the moment. Whilst Joey's talking, I'm just going to try and get a little bit more of an update off that.
Yeah, you nailed it on the head here. We don't have that with our journalists. Our journalists, if you were to say some nonsense like that, you would never be heard from again, because people would just, you're not credible, so you're no good to me. You're not a journalist. As far as that goes, my thinking on that was, I'm looking around Europe, and I'm looking at all the big clubs, and I'm looking at job openings. And the Manchester United job has only come open, twice in the last 40 years, 35 years. So you look, like I heard he was linked with the Valencia job. It's probably a nice little job, but he's managed Real Madrid. Why would he go to Valencia? What does he have to prove there? I think this is the job he wants. I think this is the job he's had his eye on. And I think we'll find out maybe in the summer how long it's been done. I think it's a done deal, to be honest. I really do. Because I think he wants to get in. I think he's going to want to get the train. I think he's eager to get back to work. He's been sitting around, doing his thing on the media. And I think he wants to get back to work. And I think, DiMarzio tweeted this out, 2 months ago, feels like?
Yeah.
And I think maybe Sky was just, maybe using that.
It's a goal for City. Or is it a goal for City? It is a goal for City. I mean, what happened with that is that they're cutting through.
10 minutes in, 5-10 minutes, I told you it'd be over.
They're cutting through Swansea because Swansea are playing their reserves. It's not a goal. It's been disallowed.
I'm watching it now. It was offside.
But Aguero should have finished it, is what I was going to say. They're cutting through them like a knife through butter. Hot knife through butter. And De Bruyne, who I've got him... No, I don't have him in my fantasy team. It is 1-0. It is a goal. It is a goal. Aguero should have scored. He was very lackadaisical, Aguero, 6 yards out. He just sort of tried to pass it in. Keeper saved it, and then it looked like it was going to get disallowed. But
I don't understand that one. It looks like Mike Dean overruled it.
Yeah, Aguero shoots. He is offside. No, he's not offside because of the player on the floor over there. It's not offside. This isn't offside. So it's an Aguero assist in a sense because he shoots, the keeper saves it, and it's Ichanio, whatever his name is, who apparently is as good as Rashford, but just scores. Actually, there's something coming on here.
They're just doing trick shots. Aguero said, "Watch this, off the keeper to Iheanacho."
United v Bournemouth is abandoned.
What? What?
It's been abandoned. So Sky have confirmed that it's abandoned. So we may as well carry on talking about Manchester United as we were going to do. But we will obviously be keeping an eye on the City game. Match abandoned. It is a shame. It is a shame. And it looks like double blow, really.
Is this the first time this has happened ever?
I think so. But you know what? I don't think it's... there's still people in the ground. So... I mean, we are just reacting to this live as per usual on the United Stand because that's what we do. But it must abandoned.
It must be something serious then for them to abandon the game, and I think people's safety always comes first.
Well, we'll talk about this because obviously Joey's from America, and I know a lot of you aren't from the UK, and I'll explain how it works. Basically, they'll abandon it based on the security threat, and 45 minutes isn't long enough, especially if it could just be a bag, it could be who knows what it is, but the reality is they'll take the safe option, and 45 minutes when you don't really know what the threat is, etc. It probably is absolutely nothing, but it will be, especially if it's a suspect package. They've got to a police officer, if there's a suspect package in the Stretford end, which is what some people are saying, then a police officer can't just walk up to the bag, open it up and go, it's just a normal bag. You can't do that. They'll have to send in a bomb expert team, everything like that. They could take an hour to get here. It could then take them an hour to do it. So I'm sure there is I hope and pray there is no bomb. There is no bomb.
It says a suspect package has been found in the northwest stand.
Yeah.
Police are on their way to the incident.
Yeah. And it will take a couple of hours at least for the police to deal with a suspect package if there's nothing in it anyway. So I would hope, and I wouldn't put my reputation on it, but I would hope there's nothing to it. And but the game will get cancelled because they won't be able to turn it around in 45 minutes. Plus, you've got so many people outside the ground, so it has been cancelled. And to be honest, before even Joey came on air, or when he did come on air, I did say it probably will get cancelled because that's how it works. And I don't know how it'd work in America, Joey, if it was like a baseball or basketball game. But, it takes,
I can't remember.
It takes time, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it does. They bring in a bomb squad. They bring in robot. They bring a robot in that goes in and opens up the thing. And then, they'll defuse it if it's a bomb. And, I know in the Middle East recently, some Real Madrid supporters club, they were terrorized by ISIS, and I'm pretty sure a couple, more than 10 died. So you can never be too cautious with this kind of stuff.
City have just had a goal. Swansea have just had a goal disallowed as we talk. But what we'll do with the watch along then? Obviously, there is going to be no timer starting, and the score will stay at 0-0. Everybody's watching the City game, so we'll keep an eye on that. And we'll talk United throughout the half as well. So we'll keep an eye out on Manchester United. Somebody's trying to put up a stream for Man United v Bournemouth. Biggest waste of time ever. It's a bit like trying to sell a chocolate teapot. The game's been abandoned. So stick with us on the United stand, and we will. We may as well. We plan to do it. If Joey's happy to do it, we may as well just stay live, talk a bit about United, watch City, and hope that they don't get fourth place. But my personal hope is that. If City do get fourth place in this, and I think a second goal will kill it, and Swansea don't really look like they're putting much effort into it, is that we just say to Bournemouth, let's share the points, 0-0, because although we'll have to keep an eye out on other scores. It's exciting, Joey, this is, because we'll keep out an eye on other scores, because the reality is, if we draw, we'll have 65 points, and if West Ham win, they'll have 65 points, and their goal difference is better. So it's money, isn't it? The game will be replayed, but when it will be replayed, I don't know, because we've got a cup final. We don't want to be playing Bournemouth on Wednesday. I suppose, I don't know, it's interesting in a way, but the game is abandoned. I'm trying to bring Joey in here, but I'm just trying to also update everybody else. The game is abandoned. Arsenal have taken the lead against Villa. I think that was a dead duck, and it's Giroud who scores. Nacho Monreal with the cross. For those who are doing Fantasy Premier League, I think we may as well keep you all updated on that as well. But yeah, match abandoned. We don't know why. Suspect package. People would be frustrated, but the way it works, and I think it works in most Western organisations, is if there is a suspect package, you're not going to get the answer to that suspect package within 45 minutes. There's 70-odd thousand fans there. You can't keep them, waiting for 2 hours. So they will abandon it, and that's what I initially thought was going to happen. As soon as we heard the ground was being evacuated, I thought it would be abandoned because the police can't just go and check it. They'll have to get specialist disposal teams in, rightly so, and that takes time. So I would say it would have took them at least 2 hours to sort it out. You're approaching 5 o'clock then, and you've got to try and keep 70,000 people happy. I'm sure the pubs will be happy around Manchester, but game abandoned, and it's a big shame for everybody who's gone over there. There were people who's gone over there from Ireland, Scotland, all around the country, abroad, even America, and you've had a bit of a wasted trip. But I suppose the one positive is we will know if top four's on.
God bless those people, because I wouldn't pay money to go see LVG. That's what I'm waiting on. Waiting for him to get sacked before I come over. Why the hell, and I think that's something that you have to look at too. Foreign fans, they're not going to want to come there, and for me it'd be a couple $1,000, to come over there and see a team. I'm not going to go over there and watch a team, that doesn't excite and play attacking football. I was going to say something. I can't remember what I was going to say now. Yeah, I don't know how far we can fall on the table, but it's not far enough to not get Europa League, because I believe if we win the FA Cup, we get Europa League.
Yeah,
so
we do.
I'm like, looking at that competition, And I'm already planning in my head Jose being here, and I expect him to, they say he doesn't play youth, well, he will in the Europa League. He'll probably want to get us out of that as fast as he can.
The positive is that, well, as things stand at the moment, because West Ham are drawing, they're above us, we're in 6th place, but we're only level with West Ham because we've got no points, and that means we'd have to lose to Bournemouth at home, which I don't think we would. So the only concern is, if we beat Bournemouth, we'll finish 5th at least. If West Ham win and we take a draw, then they will finish above us. Southampton can't catch us unless we lose. So United are going to have to play the game, is what I'm going to say.
But with that FA Cup looming, are we playing it tomorrow? I would assume they would play it tomorrow.
We'll have to keep an eye on what happens, really, because Liverpool are losing 1-0. Solomon Rondon. I mean, that's a great thing about this, I suppose. I'm really sad that it's been, and I'm really hoping that there's not going to be any enduring issue that there is a bomb, because that would be really sad state of affairs, and we'll keep you updated with that. But
more than likely, somebody just left their bag. The chances that it is a bomb are probably not as good. But that's what sucks in today's day and age, is that you can't take that risk. I'm not going to say I guarantee it, but most of the time it's not a bomb, and it's something stupid. Somebody left their purse somewhere, or their package somewhere. But that's the world we live in now. I don't know what you had planned, but I have a good topic when you're ready for it.
Yeah, cool. I'm just going to update everybody a little bit more. I mean, Swansea are starting to come into this game a little bit more, and while it's 1-0, who knows? But a draw is good. The trouble is, a draw is good enough for City as well, and I don't want a draw, because if we beat Bournemouth like I expect we will do, then we will be on the same points as City, who will obliterate us for goal difference. But little updates here. Loud jeering from Bournemouth fans as another announcement tells them to stay in their seats and await further instructions. But perfectly understandable. United to ensure safety is paramount. And also, match has been abandoned. Man United are waiting to confirm the news, but as far as I'm concerned, we understand the match has been abandoned. There are sniffer dogs on the far side of the Stretford end. What United will do, I do not know. The reality is, I fully expect this to be not a storm in a teacup, because it's very serious, but I don't expect there will be a bomb in Manchester United at all. Being very cynical, most bombs, they make sure they go off these days. It's a long time since in the UK we've had people planting bombs, as we all know from the horrific stories in the news and abroad. If people want to set a bomb off, they tend to make sure that bomb goes off. So I suspect, as Joey said, it will be just a suspicious package, which causes its own problems and fear and trauma. But it's been abandoned because it will take a couple of hours for that result to be verified by the experts, and they have to take the precautions. We'll keep you updated with all the Premier League scores. I mean, the positive is that everybody's kicking off at the same time. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on the City game. At the moment, it's 1-0 to City, and Swansea are going to have to pull out something absolutely massive to win this game. But you never know in football. Liverpool are losing, as Ray do. We've got a lot of people watching, so get your questions in. We're going to talk United. We will cover the Bournemouth game when it's on. I don't think it's going to happen today. Maybe it will happen tomorrow. Obviously we've got the Sunday Night Live tonight, which the Sunday Night Live. I'm going to go to Joe because I know he wants to talk about it. But Sunday Night Live is basically going to be, where did it all go wrong? And I think you've got to look at players, board, and manager. And it's going to be a very interesting show tonight to talk that. And I think we will still be able to talk that, because we'll know fourth place is either there for us or gone. But go, Joey, tell us what it is you want to talk about, mate.
We're going to assume that Mourinho is hired. What should be the expectations year one with Mourinho? Is it top 4? Is it title challenge? Is it, cup and a title challenge? What should be the expectation? Because I know for me, he might tamper it a little bit. But I think if he gets the players he wants, this is already a decent team. It's not a terrible team. There's some really good pieces in this team. And if you add some real quality to it, I think he could challenge for the league next year. I also thought that this year was going to be the best Premier League season ever. I mean, it was, kind of, but not the way I expected. I expected Arsenal. I expected it to be a 5-6 team race for the title. I expected it to go down to the last day. And, Joe Hart almost fumbled it. And I expected, like I said, 5, 6 teams to challenge for the title, and because I was expecting Arsenal to buy a striker. I expected Chelsea to retool themselves. I expected us to buy a striker, and it didn't happen. So I'm moving that into next year. I mean, you look at the Premier League next year: Klopp, potentially Mourinho, Pep, uh, Pochettino, Ranieri. All these managers now coming into the league or are here, and I think next year, I think my prediction got delayed a year. So that was my question. What should be the expectations with Mourinho year one? And does it depend on the summer transfer window? Because the thing I like about Mourinho is he doesn't mess around in the window, and he will let Ed Woodward know. He will light a fire under his ass. He's not going to sit there and negotiate. He's just going to say, "Get it done. I want my player. Get him in. You want a trophy? Get me this player."
A lot of people are deciding to leave the Watchalong. I mean, stay involved. We need to know what the City result is. We're going to be talking United. You would have been watching the game anyway. Get involved, get retweeting, tweet out the Watchalong link from Twitter, get everybody involved, let's have a big old debate. And on from that, I mean, Harris is saying, why is it cancelled? There's a suspect package which we'll keep you updated with, as well as the City and other scores as we go along. Stephen Bowell, when will the game take place? We will update you with that as well. Hopefully that will be happening. Yeah, I mean, I think it was Scholes Legend 18 on the comments section, and I want to get in with your section as much as possible as well. I mean, Joey's just said there, if we get Mourinho, what's the expectation for next season? I still think it's very up in the air that we'll get Mourinho anyway, but especially because, as Scholes 18 there said about Renato Sanchez, what went wrong? Mourinho wanted Renato Sanchez at Chelsea around Christmas time. If we get Mourinho, you get Mendes, and they've got the same agent as Sanchez, so why has that not happened? Although I did read something last night that apparently United were hesitant about Renato Sanchez, and Benfica didn't want to wait. They wanted to sell him, they wanted it done before the Euros, and Bayern Munich were willing to pay big money for him. So Mendes apparently was trying to stall the deal, but Benfica wanted it, and Sanchez, obviously, Bayern Munich's a big deal, and maybe it was hard for Mendes to sort of stop that deal happening. But the news was that United were very hesitant because Van Gaal didn't want him, and obviously I don't know whether Van Gaal knows that he's going to be replaced by Mourinho, or even if he is going to happen. So that's to answer that. What happens with Mourinho? For me, it's got to happen. It's the best deal we can do. We've had 3 years of absolute nonsense, and he's the best manager in world football to come in. What I would say is I don't necessarily think. I'm not going to say it's going to work. There are no certainties in football. But when you look at Mourinho in his first 2 years, he always guarantees the title. So that's very important, 2 years. What would I expect next year? A lot of people give Van Gaal credit for the clear-out that he did. I think the clear-out was an absolute joke. Apart from Johnny Evans and a couple of others, I think getting rid of Raphael, Robbie Van Persie, even Hernandez wasn't a clear-out. It was an absolute disaster. So I think any manager who comes into United's got a big clear-out, Joey, to do. So you've got to give him a year for that. I think he's got to bring different players in. So in his first season to go and win the Premier League, and it can be done, Ranieri's done it, so he could win the league, but I think top 4. I do think you've got to say top 4 next season.
Comfortably, though.
Yeah, you've got to be comfortable. We can't be battling for top 4 at all.
I think he can win the league because I don't think there's a clear out needed. I think some players will definitely be sold, but I think you look at a lot of the team. Rashford. He maybe goes back into the reserves. We use him here and there. I don't know how that's going to work. Rashford's been brilliant when he's come on, but he's still a young kid. He's still developing. So he's not going to start every game like he did this season. The only nailed on starters for next season you're looking at. For me, Darmian. I think Darmian's a typical Mourinho right back. Smalling, Luke Shaw. So 3 out of the 4 defenders, that's set, and that's big. And there's talk about if Mourinho comes, Varane wants to come. So I think if you piece in that final center back, I think you have a defense where you look at it this year, and our defense is good because he plays so defensive. He plays 2 holding midfielders, keep the ball, nothing serious. And I think if you get that other center back in, then you can take the risks and things like that. And moving on to the midfield, you have Schneiderlin, who's a nailed-on. So I think Schneiderlin and Herrera is a really good combo. We'll have to wait and see. That was almost goal number 2 for City. But going forward, there's only maybe 4. We're talking high-quality signings that he needs to make, that he can make. We were talking about Ibrahimovic being available. That's one of them. And there's other players available. I'm sure Jose Mourinho's scouting, he does sign some good players, So I think that in terms of a clear out, I don't think it needs to be as bad as it was. Now with you, I am upset that Van Persie went, but Hernandez was a super sub at the time. You know, and I haven't heard about him in a couple months now. That seemed to flame out. He had a really and this is how it goes with the media. It was around December, January, and even the beginning of the year, kind of after he was sold, that he was killing it. And then December happens for us, and we're real low, and we're not scoring goals. And here's Chicharito banging in the goals, so it makes it look worse than it really is. Because I don't think he does that in the Premier League for our team. I think Germany suits him. I think Leverkusen's a good team. I would like to see what's his name on our team. I can't even pronounce his name anyway, so I'll probably mess it up. Somebody in the comments can remind me. The free kick specialist from Leverkusen. It's a good player.
Oh,
But yeah,
that's a funny name, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah.
Drawty knows who it is, but
he's a good player. And he can play in any of the positions behind the striker. So there are players out there that we could get that Mourinho could bring in to challenge right then. Don't have to worry about Europa League. He's not going to worry about that. And I think Mourinho's got a chip on his shoulder. I think he's out there wanting to prove that those three snakes, Costa, Hazard, and Fabregas, got him sacked. And I think he wants to prove that this 3 year because like I was saying earlier, when you look around Europe and the clubs he hasn't he hasn't managed in Germany yet, but he's not going to take the Bayern Munich job. I don't think they would have him. I just think that he's not their taste of wine or whatever. So I think that he needs to settle in and make a home long term. And I think he can.
Calahanglu. I'm rubbish with names. I can't even get Marino right. So
Hakan Calhanoglu.
That's it. Yeah.
Calhanoglu.
Yeah. Shane Higgs. Thanks for that. Calhanoglu. Yeah.
Yeah. But here's a good player. I would love to see him sign for us. You look at him. If you brought him, Ibrahimovic, Varane, and another right winger in, this team could challenge for the title. And you have to bring Carrick back, though. I think Carrick has to stay around.
West Ham have scored. West Ham have scored at Stoke. So that's the problem. If West Ham beat Stoke, then they are. Well, we can't agree for it to be a draw against Bournemouth. We'd need to beat Bournemouth to finish above them. It's always about money, isn't it? So the game would get. I think the game would. I don't know. I mean, the game's obviously been abandoned. We are sixth at the moment because West Ham are winning. I was saying before that if West Ham don't win, and can't we just say we'll take a draw and never play the game, and then it suits everybody, and we still finish fifth anyway. Presuming City don't mess up, which they don't look like they will. But I'm sure the game will get replayed. I just don't know when it will get played. We don't want it to be played this week, is the bottom line. We don't want it to be played any time before. It's either got to play tomorrow, which I can't imagine them being able to. I mean, will they be? I don't know. I don't know what happened, but
it would have to be tomorrow.
Yeah, we can't have it close to the cup final, which is Saturday.
I think they would have to keep Bournemouth in town for the night, and it would have to be tomorrow. What I wanted to say, I was just jogging through my memory last night. I saw Louis van Gaal was set to make Man United miss out on another £100 million, and I don't know if that was related to the kit sponsorship with missing out on top four. So, with City winning, I mean, I think it's just done. I think it's just nail in his coffin.
City
I think
are absolutely, if anybody's watching it whilst they're watching the watch-along, they're absolutely battering them. And as soon as the second goal goes in, it's over because the draw's good enough for City anyway. And Swansea, I don't think they're going to get back into this anyway. But it's interesting what you said about two things there that you said, Joey. The Marino thing, and I haven't said this for a few months, but I was saying it at Christmas when I really wanted us to sack Van Gaal. The Marino thing, don't underestimate, for all the massive positives about he's a winner, he wins it in 2 years, he brings Mendes with him, who's the biggest powerful agent in football. Don't underestimate the fact that he's got a massive chip on his shoulder and a massive point to prove in the Premier League, because he will not be happy about what happened to him at Chelsea, and he's a winner. He's going to come back and obliterate the opposition is what his aim is going to be. So that's absolutely huge. And the second point, I did listen to Woodward's chat with the investors on Friday, which was all about the money. And I think it was one of the investors actually said, congratulations to Manchester United for a fantastic year, because we've broken records in the money, and that's all that matters to them. We are a club about the money, which I'll come to in a moment, Joe. But just to answer your sponsorship thing there, Woodward did say the only deal we've got that is a penalty deal is with Chevrolet, and that's relegation. The Adidas one is dependent on Champions League football, but it has to be 2 years in a row. So 1 year in a row won't matter. To be honest, I mean, United not being in the top four for 1 year is bloody appalling. for it to be 2 years would be unbelievable. So yeah, that isn't a problem. That isn't a problem at all.
In a year where Leicester and Spurs are going to finish in the top 4, we're not. It's a joke.
It
Absolute joke. Oh, I thought Aguero was going to score that. That was sick. A couple minutes ago, you were saying they're just battering him. Aguero nutmegs his defender on the edge of the box and just does what he wants.
What I did want to ask you about, Joey, and I want to get the live comments involved because I know a lot of you still stayed with us, and thanks for that. And we will be live at 9 o'clock tonight still. Very interesting show planned for that. But I don't know whether you were party to my conversations with Alex this week when he was deciding what new kit he likes. And I'll put my hand up and say the new kits are nice. But I did say to him, I don't think he's really got much of a... definitely in relation to Woodward and the Glazers when he's moaning about them. I don't think he's got much of an argument with them when he's rushing out to buy the new kits. I mean, that's just my personal view. I know others have a different one, and I'm hoping you will. But where do you stand on that?
I just feel like, they could sell shirts just in China and they would make a fortune,
Oh, here we go. Oh no, he's messed it up. All right. So I thought the second goal was there for City there.
It's all right.
That Hanaju, who's meant to be like Rashford, take away his tap-ins, and he's just a crap Lukaku. That's my opinion. There you go.
Oh, I see what you're talking about now. The back pass. Oh, he did mess that up.
He just scores tap-ins.
I'm not gonna buy the shirt soon because financially I'm just not. I'm not gonna. I don't. They're expensive. It's ridiculous, and there's 3 of them every year. It's just a cash cow that they just keep milking. I mean, you can see I'm wearing the 2006 shirt that I got. This is my favorite United shirt. This one and 2008 in more recent memory, and that white one, Van Persie's first year, one of my favorites. But yeah, I just feel like I will buy the shirts. I like to see it's a little different for me here because obviously football's not as big as it is there, so I like to show off. Especially I go to college, so I like to let people know that I support United. Especially because there's this kid I see every day who wears a City shirt. And...
City. Well, you know what? This might surprise a few of you, but this was in I think it was definitely in one of the broadsheets, and it's true, and it really surprised me. Chelsea this season worldwide beat United for shirt sales. I mean that's I know we are massive, and we've got no right to be arrogant about other clubs, but that does concern me that Chelsea would beat us. I mean that seems really bad.
Do you hear that they broke off their deal with Adidas?
Chelsea did, or was it the other way around?
No, well, what I had read was that Chelsea were upset that we were getting more treatment from Adidas than they were, and because they had been with Adidas for so long, and they're looking at. I think Nike's looking at picking them up, but I don't like Nike personally. I think that lately, I think their kits are very boring, and even Adidas. Adidas is doing all right, but I think there could be some better ones. I don't know if you saw the Bayern Munich home kit, the new one, but
I like Adidas. I mean, obviously I bought this top. I think I got it at Christmas time because it's sort of like it's a classic one, and I've got the white Adidas one, and they've got a new Adidas top out for United that I really like. But I was saying before you came on air, I'm not buying it whilst Van Gaal's in charge, and that's maybe me being a bit pig-headed, but I'm not going to be a hypocrite. And I think if you're putting money into their pocket, I know I'm doing it through my sports subscription as well, and I have to think long and hard about that in the summer. But that's just where I stand on it as well. But just to give you a little bit of update of scores, Spurs are losing and Arsenal are winning, so Arsenal would finish above Spurs. I mean, North London clubs are bottlers. That's all I'll ever say about that. Liverpool have equalised. Everton are winning. Surprise, surprise. You sack your manager, you win. We should have done that at Christmas. And obviously City are still winning. West Ham are winning, which means they're above us as well.
Who are Everton looking at? Is it Frank de Boer? Is he coming in?
Well, apparently they've got banners for Marino, which is what I said. I said it's like Emmerdale trying to sign up Leonardo DiCaprio. It's never going to happen. But he might go there if there's nowhere else. But Marino's only going to go anywhere else if United don't want him, and he'll probably go to PSG. But he wants the United job. He's never going to go. Never in a million years going to go to Everton. So,
what do you think about?
I think Frank de Boer is a good manager. Yeah.
What do you think about Ronaldo and potentially going to PSG?
Makes sense, doesn't he? He's probably looked at Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic nearly scores a goal a game at PSG. So for Ronaldo, earn a load of money, still playing the Champions League, have a very easy league that you're going to win. You're going to score loads of goals.
Are you disappointed in him at all? Ronaldo? Yeah.
I think he plays United a lot, and I think that disappoints me. Fortunately, I don't know whether many United fans are old enough to really remember, Just for anybody hoping that Swansea are going to get back in, they've had no shots on goal to Man City's 11. But I am a little bit. I love Ronaldo. I think people underestimate him because I think I would always take Ronaldo in my team over Messi because Messi's only ever done it in Spain and he never really shows up in World Cups. Ronaldo was an absolute colossus in La Liga, as we know, but also in the Premier League. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Single-handedly won his games from the wing a lot of the time. I think he loves United, but I think he loves himself more, and I think he does what's best for him. I don't think he was ever going to come back to us. I know I said last summer was the last chance for him to come back. I'd never want him back now.
I think I am disappointed in the fact that I always wanted to see him return, and I don't think that's going to happen. And I think the what ifs. Granted, he might win his second Champions League, but I think he's only won one league title in Spain, maybe two. I know it's definitely not more than two. And I just feel like, I don't want to play what if, but if he would have stayed, with Fergie, you're looking at a dynasty. More than, and we're not just talking league titles because that was already happening. We're talking maybe multiple Champions Leagues. Let Fergie not rebuild, but maybe retool that 09 squad that lost to Barcelona in the final, get a little younger in certain areas. So it is a little disappointing because Ronaldo was, he was such a fan favorite. And up until last year with Di Maria, we hadn't had that player that made you get up out of your seat. Like I remember when Di Maria against QPR, he picked the ball up. It was just, we just don't, we kind of have it now at Martial, but I am a little bit disappointed that Ronaldo never came back. And that he kind of settled in La Liga because he just destroys that league. It's almost like not even fun. But at the same time, I don't like his attitude. I can't stand his attitude. Total me. It's not the type of guy I would want, my kid to be like. Talent-wise, of course, but ego-wise, no.
I'm just looking at some of the tweets there in relation to the game. It's obviously been abandoned. At One Under Only says, in all seriousness, it's a good call to abandon the match. Better to be safe than sorry. The risk is too great, which is exactly what the security services will say. Something a bit interesting here from Sky in relation to abandoning fixtures for info regarding. Oh no, they're talking about bets. Sorry, I thought it was going to be something about how quick games needed to be.
Of course, they're talking about money
to be played. Amber Herrera's come out and said they're all very nervous because they're the last players who've got to leave. But last game to be abandoned was 2004 due to a hailstorm. I think a lot of us talk about rearranging for midweek for the United v Bournemouth game. We'd field a reserve team, I suppose, Joey. That's the interesting thing, isn't it? Pereira might get a game. I would be all for that because tell you what, if fourth place is gone, I don't really give a damn about fifth. It's only money going into Woodward's pocket and the Glazers. So. Yeah, I'd play the reserves. I hope we haven't got to play it again on Wednesday. I think that'd be a real shame, but because it's just could impact on the FA Cup, and we want the FA Cup to be something to focus on all week. But we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. As soon as we know what's happening with regards to the replay and that, I'll let you know. I wouldn't be getting too concerned about it. I think suspect packages in this country, and I think in any westernized country, they have to take the time about it. You've got to get the experts in, and it's not the case, and it never should be the case of a police officer just running up to the bag, kicking it, and saying there's nothing in it. That's not the way the world works. So it's going to take them time. They're right to abandon it. That doesn't mean that there is anything of major concern in there, and I don't think there will be. But we'll await and we'll see what happens. Around the ground, still 1-0 Arsenal, still 0-0 Chelsea and Leicester, still 1-0 to Everton. 1-0 to Newcastle. Oh, Spurs have equalised apparently. Mine's not updated.
Oh, wait. No, I lied. Who's West Brom playing? Liverpool?
Yeah, that's Liverpool 1-1.
Oh, Liverpool equalised.
So as it stands at the moment, we are down to 6th place, and West Ham will be above us by 2 points. So we'd need to beat Bournemouth to finish 5th. That's where it is with that.
What do you think about Watford letting go of their manager? I thought that was a mistake.
I think it's just modern football in general, isn't it? People get ideas of grandeur. Watford are not in a relegation fight. They've had a.
Do you think they're looking at Leicester thinking, hold on, we have Troy Deeney, we have Igalo, we bought Suarez from Atletico, we have a decent little team here. Maybe the right. Are they? Is that what teams are going to start doing now? Looking at Leicester and saying, why not us?
I do think there's a lot goes on at clubs that I don't agree with. I think Manchester United, we have. I thought Guerrero would put it in the top corner. Then we have endured beyond. I mean, some people the game's abandoned. In case you don't know, but we were talking before the game about what should happen, and I'll ask you about this, Joey, before we cover that next point. Keep it in the bank, so to speak. We were talking before the game about what should happen at the end of the game, because obviously it could be Carrick's last game, so he should, players should, especially Carrick, should be applauded for the last 10 years. Whether the players should be applauded, I do not know. But Van Gaal was going to do a speech, and I said the only thing that Van Gaal could say that would get him a big cheer was, "I'm leaving because Paul Scholes has forced me out." But if he'd come out and if the players come out and Van Gaal stands there with the mic, how do you react to it? Some people were saying we should all walk out. Some people were saying we should boo him. Personally, I think a slow clap or just do nothing, or just don't react to it at all would be my personal choice. But it does come down to personal choice. I totally agree with that. But I think United have enjoyed something very different. Some fans were saying we shouldn't walk out. We shouldn't be like City, what they did to Pellegrini last week, which I think was an absolute farce. He's leaving the club. He's won the title. You're probably still going to get fourth place, and you sulk because you haven't beaten Arsenal at home, and you all leave. I mean, that is petulant. That is ridiculous. The United situation's a bit different. Embarrassed in the Champions League, embarrassed in December, embarrassed against our rivals in 2 league games, and didn't turn up and show any fight on Tuesday. I think United fans have got and the football's been abysmal. Bottom of the league out of the 92 clubs in England for goals at home, and it's just disgraceful. I think United fans have got every right to react however their personal choice is. How would you react, Joey, is one. But two, answering your question, Watford, I think it's ridiculous. I think if I was Ranieri, I would probably get myself a better job this year, because I don't think he can repeat that with Leicester next year, because I think all the big clubs will be back. And I just foresee a situation with like the Watford situation, where Leicester will be mid-table next year, knocked out of the group stage in the Champions League, and they'll sack Ranieri because
They won't win a game in the group stage either.
No, and I think that's it. I think these clubs are getting ideas of grandeur. Spurs are 2-0 down. They're going to they're going to finish below Arsenal. Ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, your reaction to those things I was on about.
So, the first thing with the Van Gaal thing, I wouldn't leave because I think it's disrespectful to the players, but I would make it known that I do not like you. I would boo. Because I think if you do a slow clap, that could be seen as you could see it as an arrogant or like a type of thing, or you could see it as you never know with Van Gaal. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you boo him, he can't interpret it like, oh, they love me so much they're booing me. Like, he can sit there and blame Paul Scholes all he wants, but I gotta let it be known, and I gotta let him know, we don't want you. And I mean, I'm looking at the Van Gaal in-out club, and I'm thinking it's like 95% out, maybe 5% in. Maybe that psycho girl on Twitter that's obsessed with Van Gaal. Maybe she's only, the only one. She's definitely president of the Van Gaal in fan club. But like I said, and look, I was with him for a while. Like, it took a lot for me, and finally, you realize it comes to a point, where he's not gonna change. We thought maybe he was gonna change. I thought maybe he would change, but he didn't, and that's his downfall. And that was Moyes' downfall, and it's every manager's downfall is their ego and their arrogance. And none more arrogant than a good old LVG. So yeah, I would boo the shit out of him. I would boo as hard and loud as I could, because I need him to know that he's not wanted here. I thank you for winning the FA Cup if you do that. I thank you for signing Martial, but you got to go, mate. It's time to go. We can't risk letting Mourinho go another year. He's not going to wait. And then look at this. Van Gaal's done, right? Say we keep him, end of his third year. You're looking around, all the good managers are 1 year into their new jobs and winning things or building their squads. There's not many out there that can take the job, in my opinion. Swansea are a disgrace, by the way. But Leicester was a fairy tale, because it's never going to happen again, I don't think. I think, and I'm probably one of the ones that doesn't really like it. I see all these people, oh, I'm so happy for all these United fans. It kind of pisses me off. When they're like, oh, I'm so happy for no, that's a sign of failure. We failed. Leicester City won the league before we won another league title. If I would have told you that in 2013, you would have smacked me. They weren't even in the league. It's a joke. I see it as the ultimate sign of failure, and that's for all the big clubs because you shouldn't let something like that happen. They're not going to win a game in the group stage. Maybe they'll win one, but and what's sad, what's funny is they're going to have the excuse next year too. Oh, well, they're not even supposed to be here. There was just such a long shot. This, that, and the other. So ignore them. But yeah, I just don't. I don't know.
Just a little bit of an update. That reliable sources are saying that a bomb squad is in attendance at Old Trafford, and it relates to a mobile phone device, and they might have to carry out a controlled explosion, which is a little bit different than a bag, and you wonder what that's all about. I'm sure it's going to come to light in the future, and all I would say is I think what we've kept saying really is that we need to. It's the right decision in relation to what's happened, 100%, and we hope that there is no fallout from that, because we don't want to see that in football, and I think everybody unites together against that. But from what Joe was saying there, then I personally, if I'd have been there when Van Gaal was, I suppose a lot of it depends, but as things stand at the moment, City are comfortably 1-0 up against Swansea, if you can ever be comfortably 1-0 up, and they will get top four, and we will end up not with top four. So hypothetical situation, Van Gaal comes out, starts his speech. Personally, I'd have sat there in silence or walked out. Joey would have booed the heck out of him. There's people on Twitter having a pop at me today saying you're not a United fan for that, and well, I quite clearly am. And what I would say is that I one of the things we've always been up against on the United stand, and a lot of our regular viewers will know this, is this arrogant super red mentality out there that what they say goes, and it isn't. Football is all about opinion. Don't tell me I don't support Manchester United just because my opinion is different to yours. Everybody's got an opinion, and everybody has a right to an opinion, and I'll explain my opinion, as I'm sure Joe would, or anybody else who watches this channel, to anybody. I don't just pick one out the air and go, I hate Van Gaal, I hope City win. That's not how it works. It's a short-term pain for a long-term gain. And I absolutely hate I have to make that decision. And I blame Van Gaal and the club because I have to make it. Because the fans have had so much rubbish this year. And we still continue to have to make these really difficult decisions. And for me, it's simple. Van Gaal is a joke. And if he stays, if we get top four, then I don't want top four. And you can say I'm not a United fan, but I am a United fan, and I'm looking at the long-term game. And I tell you what, when things turn around, and they will turn around, because United are an absolute beast. We've proven that over our whole history. But at the moment, we've got a blindfold on, and we've got two hands behind our back. When that blindfold is removed and the hands behind our back are free, we'll be a massive player again, and nobody's going to be more positive and happy than me. And I hope you stick with the United stand long enough to see that, because I crave the days of what I've seen in the past. I crave the 99s, the 08s, the winning the titles, the winning the FA Cup next week. I'll be absolutely ecstatic. It's 1-1 at City. It's 1-1 at City. Makes it a bit...
Hold on, you're telling me this free kick's about to go in?
Well, watch the free kick, but it's 1-1. We can breathe again. We're still not there.
Joe Hart went the wrong way. You know what, though? I wanted to tell you, I don't know if you've been watching, but Mike Dean makes the best faces. So he gives Otamendi a yellow card, and he just goes...
Who knows? Who knows?
Could it be?
Well, it could... I did say, football has a funny way of smacking you in the face.
Oh, that was that took a big deflection.
City will have to come out in the second half.
Are you seeing it? It was a Fernando own goal. Did you see this? Fernando heads it in.
The reality is, City have got two...
You know what this is setting us up for, right? This is setting us up for a 90th minute Aguero goal. Again. But how funny would that be? Anyway.
It's half time.
How far have we fallen? A couple years ago, Aguero scored in the 90th minute to deny us our 20th title. Now he's scoring in the 90th minute potentially to deny us 4th place.
Well, I'll just update you on that, because it is half time in that game, so we can really get into some United stuff. And if there's anything specific you want us to talk about, get involved in the live comments, please do. But as things stand, City are still finishing in 4th. It's the worst case scenario, I said, but it's the best case scenario if you want City, if you want 4th place, because Swansea, they can't score 2 from one behind. They've got to win this game to give us a chance. the draw would mean even if we beat Bournemouth, we won't get it on goal difference, which I think will be another massive kick in the teeth about how boring Van Gaal is. But at the moment, there is hope. There is hope, and it is interesting.
You know what sucks though is this is why even a draw was necessary last week because.
Oh yeah, I said that. I didn't do the watch along with you. I did it with Zara, didn't I? But
yeah.
she was getting really stressed when we were losing, and I said, yeah, we're probably not going to win the game, but a draw, City would have to then go and win at Swansea, and that is not necessary. It takes another result out of the equation. A draw, and in the last, we were 3-2 down to West Ham with 10 minutes to go, and we didn't create a chance. That really was shocking. If you're 3-2 down and you're a Vauxhall Conference side against the Premier League side, you'd expect to at least throw the ball in the box and to create something. And we created absolutely nothing, and that was the horrific thing about that. Really, really disappointing. But a draw will be enough for City. But you know what? Who knows? It makes it interesting for the second half. Around the grounds, Arsenal are winning 1-0 at Villa, which means they will finish above Spurs because they're blowing it at Newcastle, 2-0 down. Chelsea are drawing with Leicester, 0-0. Everton winning 2-0, no manager. What surprise, they start winning. Southampton are beating Palace 1-0. West Ham are beating Stoke 1-0. Sunderland are beating Watford 1-0. And West Ham are drawing 1-1 with Liverpool. I don't think any of them are very good for my fantasy Premier League team. But United, they've not really updated what that means. But Southampton would be... as things stand, Southampton are above us on goal difference, but we'd have to lose to Bournemouth to finish below them. West Ham are above us, and we'd have to draw or lose to finish below them. So when the Bournemouth game will be rearranged, I'd expect that to be announced pretty soon. But I'd ask you about that, Joe. I mean, when would you want it to be replayed, and what would you expect our reaction to be? I think we just play the reserves.
No, I think it'll be played tomorrow, and I think he'll play the same exact team. Because I just think that's what he would do. I think he'd be delusional enough. But we also have to see the result of the City game. But no, I think he would, I think he would play the starting 11 that he picked today, and I think it should be played tomorrow. They're not going to, can't do it next weekend because of the FA Cup. I suppose, I guess if City, do get fourth, should just tell them, let's just take a draw. Or even just take the loss. Because the FA Cup is the most important thing now. But, yeah, tomorrow it'll be played, I'm sure. I don't think it's going to be played today. I mean, there's still time. I mean, maybe they could, have a 7 o'clock kickoff. I don't know.
I can't see it because I think that, people are just going to go home now. It's cancelled, aren't they? It won't happen today. But the trouble with it is the trouble with football is there's so much money in it, I could say. But the trouble with it is that, and this has been like this for a long time. I don't know what the figures are now, and if somebody had it, they could let us know in the comments section. Is that for every position you finish in the Premier League, you get different amounts of money. So, even for Bournemouth, they might fancy, a point might push them up the league. I don't know whether it actually does. Let's have a look at Bournemouth. Bournemouth are in 16th place. Yeah, they're level on points with Palace and Watford and Everton are all within points. They could go up 2 or 3 spots, Bournemouth, so they would want to play it because that could mean a little bit of extra money for them. And whether it's a tenner or 100 grand, Woodward would want it. So
yeah, are you ready for this?
Go on.
13 minutes. Bournemouth have gone home. United kicked off anyway. Still 0-0 as Smalling passes it back to De Gea.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, go on.
Twitter comes up with some great things, man. Some creative things. Stuff like that. And I think reading that, it's just so typical of our season because it probably would be 0-0 and we'd be passing it backwards.
Yeah, just something that was popped into my head then, and I've totally forgotten what it was. But there was the whole the people were taking pictures of the empty stand, saying it's there's more people here than there is at the empty ad on match day, which made me laugh. But yeah, hopefully we will hear while we're on air. We will stay on air till the end of the City game because I think we'd all be watching it anyway. So why not? And it is quite interesting now. I mean,
if there's anything in the comments they want to talk about, throw some topics out there. I was thinking, I was just thinking, what do you think about, I want to stay on the Mourinho thing because I think it's the most important thing going on right now. What do you think about Giggs? Does Giggs have to take another job? Because I saw him him and Carrick actually both linked to Newcastle in the Championship.
I'd love that. I would love that. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I think he should go to Newcastle because I think that he should, you know, buy his trade somewhere else. They're just showing Carrick now on my TV. They're showing the dogs sniffing.
Yeah, it is a suspect package for anybody who doesn't know.
And it almost looked like it was pitch side, like in that last little, where your feet go, right by the pitch.
I mean, it just you know what? If it turns out that it's genuine, it turns your stomach about what the result of that could be, and whether it, hopefully, as I've said, hopefully it will just be a suspect package, that they've got a controlled explosion. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the bombings in London a few years ago. Horrific, obviously, but for the next month after that, you couldn't move. Trains were delayed, buses were delayed. You couldn't move for suspect packages, and none of them had bombs in them. It was just the reaction to what happened in London, and it shut everything down for a long time because the police had to come, they had to do the suspects, they had to do the controlled explosions, and it takes a couple of hours to do it, and that's how you should react to it. That's how you should react to it. And I suppose this just shows, even if it is a fake thing, it just shows the threat within Western civilization. This sort of thing can happen, and it turns your stomach. And I pray to God that it isn't real, because that we don't even need to think what the result of that could have been, and it makes you sick. So definitely the right decision to be made. But back to the football, because we want to talk about.
Oh yeah, and I was going to say, so we got that. What do you think a Mourinho staff looks like? Do you think he would bring in Paul Scholes, maybe Rio Ferdinand, or any of the class of '92, or any of the recent players? I think that'd be kind of cool if he had Scholes on the staff. Nicky Butt's got to stay with the reserves and the youth academy because he's doing such a good job. But yeah, I think that would be great, because I think Mourinho is kind of like Fergie in a way of, he's just a winner and he knows how to treat it as such. He knows how to treat the players. He knows, he knows. That's why it's just such a perfect fit for me. But that would be my question for you in the comments. What do you think his staff looks like? Because obviously I don't think Giggs will stay on. I think Giggs has got to go manage elsewhere. I think he should have took the Swansea job when he could have. But yeah.
I mean, there are jokes that are a bit thin, a bit close to the line. I did read one there that the bomb's been found under Louis van Gaal's seat because he's needed a bomb up his arse all season. But I've laughed. I can't help it. It's not a bad one. But why is Rio an idiot? Says Darren Young says Rio's an idiot. Darren, comment and let us know why, because I know you're watching stuff that we're not. So. I'm interested in that. But from what I just want to mention Giggs, because I mentioned it before Joey came on air there, that there's somebody, and people will know who it is saying that Giggs should go and manage the under-18s, and I think that sort of backs up their football opinion, really. I think it's an absolutely preposterous idea. If you want Ryan Giggs or the class of '92 to be a manager of Manchester United in the future, which I do, it's my dream. I do want that. Not now. They're not ready now. That'd be a bad decision. But in the future, of course, I want someone like Giggs or Scholes or Neville in charge of United. They are United through and through. They know the club. It's the dream. I would love it to happen. None of them are ready now. But sending Giggs to manage the under-18s, that doesn't make him anywhere near ready to be Manchester United manager. The world is full of assistant managers and reserve team coaches who you think they're not. That doesn't mean they're Manchester United managers. Clement left Madrid. Brilliant. As assistant manager, messed up at Derby. Giggs being under-18 manager does not prepare him for being United manager at all. He being the assistant manager does not prepare him at all. I know people will say, well, Barcelona do it, but Barcelona play Real Madrid and 19 pub teams every year. It's a totally different thing. You've got to be competitive in the Premier League. I applaud Steve Bruce, Roy Keane, people like that who've gone off and done it. Yeah, they'll never be United managers, but they've tried it. Giggs, if he wants to be United manager, he's got to go and manage the likes of Newcastle or someone like that. Difficult. The Championship is a bloody hard league to play in, and I know a lot of Villa fans because of where I live. And I said to them, next year you need to get rid of all your fancy damn players, get a load of Championship players in, get Nigel Pearson in as your manager, and you're going to have to battle for 46 games to get back, because it is an absolute battle. So I'd love Giggs to go and do that job. Don't really want him to go to Celtic, because I think a bit like Spain, it's a bit of a cigar-on job. He could win it playing the kids. But yeah, if Giggs wants to be Man United manager, or any of them want to be managers, because I applaud Gary Neville what he did, go and manage proper clubs and then come to United. That's what I think about that, Joey.
Are you ready for this one? It
Go
turns out it wasn't a suspected package. It was just ISIS showing Van Gaal how to attack.
on. God, close to the bone.
But yeah, I think he has to go. I think you're right about the championship. I mean, that's just brutal. And if you can prove yourself there, I don't know. I agree that Scotland is a cakewalk league. I would like to see him go to Italy. Take over. Take over the AC Milan. I don't know if he would get that job, obviously, but take over a club like that. A club that's mid-table in Serie A, and see if you can get him into Europe. I just think that handing him the keys to the Ferrari is not a good idea because I think he'll potentially wreck it. But here's my thing again. I said this in December when I first started coming on with you guys. Give Giggs the second half of the season. I said at that time, we're probably not going to get top 4 anyway. I think I said that. I hope I said that. We're probably not going to get top 4 anyway. This is a little sample season of what Giggs can do in the long term. Give him 6 months. Give him the rest of the season. See what he can do, and then at the end of the season, make your decision because then you'll know if Giggs can get the job done. But they didn't do that. They kept Van Gaal because they don't want to be a sacking club. And we're still not going to get top 4 anyway.
It's on. Top 4 is on at the moment. I mean, let's not pretend it isn't because City are 1-1 at the moment. If Swansea get another goal, stranger things have happened, and it would make staying on here for so long. Just got a message from Zara here. She's been filming outside Old Trafford today. Some of the stuff we want to put up for the FA Cup next week. And apparently she said there's now this goes against everything I would believe, and I think she's probably winding me up because I'm under no illusions that next time I go to Old Trafford I probably need a set of bodyguards because I don't please everybody. But apparently she said a lot of people are saying she must be joking. Have you met Goldbridge in person? Is he that handsome in person? Yeah, she's lying. Zara's pulling my leg and I've just put it up on live telly. Thanks for that, Zara, as always. But yeah, we are where we are. So tonight we will be live at 9 o'clock tonight. I haven't asked Joey on because we've got Alex and Paul I think tonight. For once we've got loads of people who want to come on, which is always great. And we will be talking though, and I do want to bring Joey into this because he won't get a chance to do it tonight. Tonight it might change slightly. Because if City lose, then you can't really call the show what I was going to call it. But very simply tonight, and I want all of you to watch 9 o'clock because it really is important you get involved. And I think there's going to be some fantastic opinion on this. But let's keep it to the last 12 months. I know Van Gaal has been here for 2 seasons now, but let's keep it to the last 12 months because I think to be fair to Van Gaal, last season is immeasurably better than this season, and nobody can argue that there's not been progress. It's been a decline. Where has it all gone wrong this season, Joe?
So I'm going to go to the summer, and I said it when I was doing, I think it was Shredding News at the time in August or September. I said and I can't believe it didn't happen, but I said we're a center back away from a crisis in the defense because we didn't sign a center back. And this was right when Blind was really fresh in our minds. He just started playing center back. We didn't sign enough players. Our net spend was I think it was net positive. I'm pretty sure we made money this summer because we sold so many players. So, yeah, I think it goes back to the summer transfer window. I think he didn't sign the right players. Well, no, I can't say that. I don't think he signed enough players, and I don't think he signed the quality that we needed to come in. That being said, then you go into the season, you have to look at his first season. He didn't build on that spring. He was the team played amazing that spring. There was that run, and there was just that run of games where it looked like, that he had turned the corner and we were going to play exciting attacking football. We're scoring multiple goals a game. Beat City, beat Liverpool, beat Tottenham at home, and then it was just there was no increase in performance. It just went down, if anything. And then you look at the season, I just feel like it wasn't. I don't know. I just want to say that, for me, it was the summer transfer window. That's where I think it went wrong for Van Gaal. And then you look at December with all the injuries. And I think the injuries are not a coincidence. I think it's him. I think it's his training. I think it's his methods. We have so many injuries the last 2 seasons, like an ungodly amount of injuries, and they're all muscle injuries. They're all from probably the training. So I just think it was him. I don't know. Maybe it's just the type of person that I am. But like, if something's not working, I'm gonna change it. Not keep persisting my way because it's worked in the past. Sometimes you have to adapt, and I think he was unable to adapt. Another thing where it went wrong, away games at the bottom clubs. We know how they're gonna set up. Two banks of four, ba ba ba. Defend, defend, defend. He couldn't figure out how to break that down with his team. He couldn't develop a strategy because he wanted to pass the ball around and keep possession. Sometimes you have to give up the ball a little bit to open up some space. And then at the same time, there wasn't a lot of movement off the ball. So I'm going into his tactics a little bit. So, and I like to talk X's and O's with you. I just felt like the team was too stagnant. I just felt like there wasn't enough people working at certain times. I thought City scored. Just not enough movement off the ball, not enough belief. And I think that comes down to your manager. If you're feeling your manager and you watch certain games, when teams are really up for it, you have to be able to get your players up for those bottom away games. And he just couldn't do that. Players would just sit there in the final third, wait for the ball. They would receive the ball. They would look up, and then they would just pass the ball sideways or backwards. Until Martial got going, then he would take on the defense. He would start creating things, and especially at striker, But, yeah, I just think his tactics were crap. He couldn't motivate the players. So when you have all this combination of players that aren't good enough, because he didn't bring the quality in, crap tactics, crap motivation, plus injuries. I mean, it's shocking that we're even going to finish fifth, in my opinion.
Victor Broyne there said, do you ever blame the players? I mean, I'll throw that back to you, Joey. I mean, do you ever blame the players?
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, of course you do. Because I think you look at training. I want you to train like you play, and I want you to take this seriously. Yeah, of course you blame the players, but at the same time, it's a little bit of both. You have to, as a professional, you have to be able to do your job. And Juan Mata is a perfect case. But then you have to look at it like this too, and I would ask you this too: like, when does it become the players just aren't good enough? Or do you blame them because you look at Juan Mata and you know what he's got in his locker. You know what I mean? Like, but he's being played on the right wing. So how much can I blame Juan Mata for that? He's not playing in his preferred position. So if you had played the players in their preferred positions, you might have had a different story. He persisted with Rooney at number 9 for so long, and it was a terrible idea. But as far as blaming the players, I can't blame the players for being crap. Like Rojo, what am I going to do? Oh, Rojo, it's your fault. You suck, and LVG plays you every game. But at the same time, yeah, players have to make better decisions. In terms of decision making, I agree that certain players do need better decision making. Herrera is one of them. He's not perfect. He can be criticized. Sometimes he makes the wrong decision. But on top of that, I'd rather them make the wrong decision than not make the decision at all.
Darth Watson's just made me aware of something that I wasn't aware, and I think it's very, very sad. Schneiderlin's not made the Euros for France.
I said that in a group chat. I don't think you're in that one.
No.
That breaks my heart, dude, because I got him on my shirt. He was the only player I even really wanted at that time. I was like, dude, I want Schneiderlin because I think he was in the team of the season last year. He bossed us at Old Trafford 2 years in a row. He's a good effing player. Like, he's quality player, Premier League proven. And look what has happened to him. You're going to blame him for that? No. It's a situation that he's been put in. He can make good decisions. But, like, when everything's going wrong for you and you don't like your manager and he's not motivating you and then you're so worried about messing up, it's going to happen. And it's unfortunate. But, yeah, Schneiderlin didn't make the Euros. It's a crime. Well, Conte made him.
Schneiderlin is, at Southampton, he was arguably the best midfielder in the Premier League, defensive midfielder. Totally.
And I don't think it's because he stepped up to United, because I think he can do that.
No, he's just totally misused, because it's like anybody who's got a bit about them. Van Gaal will destroy it. Fellaini, Rojo do well under Van Gaal because they're limited players who just do simple things well. I can't talk about where I think it's gone wrong because I'll be doing my bit on the 9 o'clock show, so join us for that. What I can talk about is, and Joe, it was a very, very good point there about when do you blame the players. Tuesday night for me was the first bit. What I've always said about the players is I will give them a free pass until Van Gaal's gone, because I researched Van Gaal when we got him and it started going going bad, and he he's so methodical about the game of football. So methodical. He breaks it down. There's only 1 or 2 players who are allowed to take people on or be creative. The rest of them, they've got very structured ways of playing, which he likes, which is why he likes Fellaini. Because if you're a
you read that same post I did, didn't you?
Yeah, probably
about his philosophy. Yeah. And I thought that was really telling, didn't you?
And it was from a Dutch journalist, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was from just a Dutch journalist or a Dutch fan, and he knew Van Gaal's system to a T.
Yeah.
Where only the number 10 and the number 9 can take risks. If you're a fullback, you're not allowed to take a risk.
No.
If you're a midfielder, the only time you can is when the team is in a good position to defend. What kind of shit is that?
So Fellaini works really well because he's not creative. He can't go past players. And he's not very good at long passes. So Fellaini works brilliantly for Van Gaal because all he'd be told to do, win the ball, do a simple pass, get in the box, win the ball in the air. So he loves Fellaini because he's very limited. Herrera, on the other hand, Herrera's a sort of midfielder who wants to play the forward pass, wants to take risks. And that doesn't fit in with Van Gaal unless you're one of his 2 players who are allowed to take risks.
That's why he didn't play. He didn't play for 5 months?
It's Martial and Lingard at the moment who are the 2 players in the United team who are allowed to do anything. Even the number 9 is just basically the first defender. So, very short. I didn't really look at the players until Tuesday because I think they deserve a free ride because it's very difficult in that United side to do anything when you've got such a dictator in charge. But on Tuesday night they didn't show up. They didn't show up at all, and I didn't like the antics on the bus. So that brings me to my next point, really, which a lot of you would talk about. The game is cancelled, Rutar. It is cancelled, unfortunately. City did almost score, but it's still 1-1. I've very much got an eye on that because if Swansea can get in front, it gets very, very interesting. And I suppose what we want to happen is this game to stay 1-1 for at least another 20-25 minutes. We want it to stay 1-1 until the last minute and Swansea to score because then there'll be no time for City to do anything about it. But I'm not going to get too excited for the moment, but hopefully it will change around a little bit. But people have done 3 in, 3 outs. I don't want to do 3 ins, Joey. What I want to do is, and I'm not going to limit it to 3 outs, but I'm going to say to you, and I'm going to be quite harsh here, players that United need to get rid of, which hopefully Mourinho will get rid of. And we'll sort of have a little bit of a debate about this and we'll get everybody else involved whilst we're keeping an eye on this City score. Off the top of my head, there are some that I know need to go, but I'm going to be very, very... Kickoff isn't delayed, it's been cancelled. Rojo, 1. Fellaini, 2. Phil Jones, 3. Mata, 4. That's controversial, I know. Rooney, 5. And then I've got a few that are Lingard 6, but he won't go. So they'd be my 6 definite. Yeah, and then you start. Yeah, Januzaj's got to go. He's just not going to fit in with. He's just not. He's done nothing for 2 years. Januzaj played well for Moyes. He's done nothing for 2 years. So yeah, the main players that I would, because you can't be too greedy. We're not going to get rid of more than 5, to be honest. But yeah, for definite, it's got to be Rojo. It's got to be Fellaini. It's got to be Phil Jones. I think it's got to be Mata, not because I want him to go. You know, he recorded something on Twitter for us the other day for the United stand. He's a fantastic bloke, an absolute, and he says footballers get too much. I really like him, but liking somebody isn't enough, and he's just not done it, and he won't do it. He won't do it under Mourinho. So I've sort of got to get.
Well, you have to look at. Would you rather have James or would you rather have Mata? I mean, that's what I look at it like.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have James because he's younger, still left-footed, but he can play on the wing. He's better winger than potentially Mata is. Look, I love Juan Mata. He's a great player, when he's played in his position. I think he has upped his work rate a little bit. I don't think Mourinho would sell him twice. I just don't think he would. I just don't think he would want that, I think he would give him a year to try. He's already under contract anyway. But yeah, I agree with the Rooney because I think there's better midfielder options than Rooney. Definitely Phil Jones, definitely Marcus Rojo, but it also has to depend on who's coming in. I might be controversial here, but Schweinsteiger hasn't done anything, and he's an old man.
Schweinsteiger is a concern because Schweinsteiger was one of the positives about Van Gaal. I don't think we would have got Schweinsteiger without Van Gaal because he loves Van Gaal. It's like Muller very nearly came to United because he loves Van Gaal. There are 1 or 2 players out there who do like Van Gaal. And I think Muller, if we'd got him, and I think we did try everything to get Muller, to be honest.
I think they gave a blank check to Bayern Munich and
Yeah.
said, "What do you want?" And in terms of wages too.
Yeah, Rummenigge basically said that, didn't he? He was like, we've had offers that are huge, and you can't blame them for not getting rid of him. But Muller brings. I mean, stats are fantastic.
He is world class for me.
Yeah.
He's just unbelievable. But what I had heard was, and I think this was from a German fan, that his wife is some type of not a model, maybe I don't know what she is, but he's never leaving Germany. He's got his family there, his wife's there. He's never leaving Germany.
Fantastic to get Schweinsteiger. I mean, I did the video reaction with Alex about start of July last year about 11 o'clock at night here.
It was Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger. Same day.
Schweinsteiger is, he's away from United. He's my favourite player. It just hasn't worked. It hasn't worked for a couple of reasons as far as I'm concerned. One, his injury record before he came to United wasn't fantastic. It started off okay at United. Second half of the season, it's gone awry, as it normally does. And two, whether he liked Van Gaal before or not, he's just not been used right by Van Gaal at all. It's just been very slow, side-to-side football. And most midfielders will struggle with that. And you're not allowed to bomb on either. I'm not saying Schweinsteiger's finished. I mean, what I would say about Schweinsteiger is this team is crying out, as we saw on Tuesday night, for a leader, and Rooney's not a leader. We had a leader. We bought Schweinsteiger. He should have just been given the captaincy, but they wouldn't do it. But Yashas is saying Rojo, Fellaini, Valencia, and Young. I think.
I think Young and even Valencia to a certain extent are good depth.
Yeah,
they're good depth, and yeah, you do. I would be interested to see what a Mourinho team would look like. Guess what? God, I want him so bad. There hasn't been many bright days under LVG, but I remember that day we signed Schneiderlin. I didn't even know about the blood sample picture. I was actually at Disney World, and I had come out, and I checked. I didn't get service. I was almost in. I checked my phone, and all of a sudden, we're signing Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger, and I was just through the roof. But it's gotta. I would keep Valencia. I would keep Young for depth because I think Ashley Young's still a decent player. He's good at what he does, and that's crossing the ball.
Well, I'll throw something into here, Joe, because I think people get a little bit over the top with they've got to go, they've got to stay, whatever. You've hit on something perfect there because it's where I'd bring Daley Blind into it. Daley Blind, for me, has probably been one of our players of the season. He's been very consistent, but in two very important games, he's been totally exposed. West Ham away and Spurs away. And I've been saying this, and a lot of people on Twitter again have been saying, you're totally wrong about Daley Blind, da, da, da. And all I'm saying about Daley Blind is, he's not, if you want to win a title, he is not a title-winning centre-back. But he'd still play 30 games a season as the quintessential Phil Neville squad player, which is what you need. And he's perfect because he last season he played at left back when Shaw was out and we had that really good run. He can play centre back and he can play centre midfield. Daley Blind for me is exactly what Young and Valencia should be. Very good, experienced, international squad players. They're not first team 11 players, but over a season they'll probably play 20 to 30 games because of injuries, etc. Exactly. You need those players.
Utility guys, where you can plug them in anywhere. Even Valencia. I mean, I remember Valencia played in midfield against somebody. I think it was Everton last year, and he did a good job. Because he can chase the ball around and he can put a tackle in, and he's got a work rate. But yeah, you have to have players like that. You can't just have depth to have depth. You have to have a little bit of quality in that depth. And Daley Blind is a quality footballer. Is he a starting center back in the Premier League? Absolutely not. Did he do a great job this year? Absolutely. But I hope you're not going to tell me City scored.
No, West Ham have scored, which means...
How about the job Slaven Bilic has done with them, though? I think he's done a really good job.
Well, I'm just looking at it now. If the West Ham score stays the same, they've got the same points as we've got now. Why can't we just say...
Southampton are winning. Yeah. Southampton are winning, too.
Yeah, Southampton have got the same points as us, so we'd only need a point from Bournemouth. Why can't we just say match abandoned point each, and then we'd finish 5th or whatever anyway, unless City mess it up, which...
Because Swansea are gonna score in the 85th minute.
Well, you never know. You never know. We're sort of talking United and sort of trying to ignore what we think it will be an inevitable thing. But let me just whiz through some comments. Yeah, Stoke 1-1, we know. Blinder's a squad player. That's it, says Greek Lish Mank. Nick Powell says Amster. Yeah, he's got to go 100%. Kickoff
Hey,
timer.
you know what's?
Go on.
Do you remember Nick Powell's debut?
I remember him
He
coming on
scored
in the key Champions League game. I mean, that was just another move.
Oh no, I'm going back to Fergie's. It was a game Scholes scored in. I think Alexander Butner scored in this game too. Remember him? And Nick Powell scored, and there was so much potential from Nick Powell under Fergie, and then it just went away. It's just mind-boggling.
Haley Anderson saying that the game might be postponed for 2 weeks. I don't know how that fits in because the Euros.
I heard Tuesday now.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Tuesday would sort of fit in, wouldn't it? It gives everybody enough time to come if they want to come. Bomb found under Lou Van Helsey. Who dares wins? Yeah, I think we've done that one. Tyre squad says Carisha, apart from Marshall, Smalling, and De Gea. Powell scored.
No, I don't. No, see, no, because Darmian's a good player. Smalling, De Gea, and Marshall? No, because Darmian's a good player. Schneiderlin's a good player. Herrera's a good player. Given the right motivation, given the right manager. I shouldn't say motivation. That's bad, because then you get the wrong idea. But this team has a great spine and it has some good pieces. To me, even if it wasn't Manchester United, if it was just some other club, it would still be the top job because you look at that squad and you say, a few key additions, a few superstars, and we got something special here. That's what I think.
Oh, Martial's been an absolute revelation as a signing. No doubts about that. I'm just trying to get some... see if there's anything coming through suspicious package, and also I'm just trying to find out if there's anything about the replay again. Hopefully we'll get that while we're on air, but we are starting to keep an eye on City, and Aguero's just missed a good chance. I'm sort of building this up slowly that this could happen because somebody's saying on Twitter if Swansea win they'll shave their head. I'm not going to go that far because football has a funny way of doing things like this. And
you have to now because I feel like that would almost guarantee Swansea. So you got to do something. Come on the United stand in full makeup or something.
Yeah,
something silly.
Maybe Joey can shave his head off. Hair. 2-1 to Spurs. They're on the way. They're on their way back, but they need a draw. They need a draw. We're hanging in. And there is interest. I mean, this sort of
Spurs are going to equalise.
It frustrates me because Swansea are playing a reserve side and City are trying to win this game, and they're not. And I always said this last week. I said it. I said a draw against West Ham was not a bad result because I don't think City will beat Swansea. And if we'd drawn with West Ham and beaten Bournemouth, which I think we will do, we'd be above them. City would have had to win, and I don't think City will win. Even against this reserve lot, they're on the attack at the moment. But
I really hope Swansea don't score like in the next 5 minutes because then it'll probably be the most anxiety-filled 20 minutes I've ever experienced.
Yeah, it's got to be. If Swansea are going to win this, they need to score like literally with 10 minutes.
The last kick.
3 minutes to go. Something ridiculous. City score is 1-1 at the moment. Hands.
Hey, and you want to know another? Where it went wrong for Van Gaal when he didn't sign De Bruyne.
Well, yeah.
I know the money was expensive, but
if you look at City, as bad as they've been, they've actually picked up quite a lot of points since De Bruyne came back about a month, 6 weeks ago. So yeah, I mean he's just we've wasted money on Di Maria, didn't we? But they'd probably destroy him anyway. He'd probably destroy him.
And then Mourinho comes in and sells him again.
You know what? People will throw stuff at you about Mourinho saying, he wasn't doing too well this season. He sold De Bruyne. No manager is perfect, as I will vouch for.
Exactly.
Sir Alex Ferguson isn't just the best manager of our time. He's probably the best all-time manager in world football. But he made some clangers. Pogba, Kleberson, Jemba. The list goes on and on. And fans used to get frustrated with him.
Not just world football. I think in all of sport, I think he's the best.
Yeah. But he makes mistakes. He definitely makes mistakes. He was nearly sacked twice. No, that's probably unfair on him. I don't think he was nearly sacked twice. But a lot of fans were wanting him sacked twice.
Even when we won that 20th title, I remember, the odd person on Twitter saying, well, it's great winning the title under Fergie, but, when are we going to sign a midfielder? We had this Cleverly and Carrick midfield, and when we would lose a game, people would be like, he's too old. We need to win the Champions League again, blah, blah, blah. So there's always going to be that odd person that, says stupid shit like that. But yeah, Fergie didn't get it right all the time. Nobody does. Nobody's perfect. Mourinho did make a mistake with De Bruyne. He did make a mistake with Lukaku. Even though I want to know what happened in that, because I remember him saying Lukaku wanted to be sold to Everton. Something happened, and the journalist was asking Mourinho, and Mourinho said, ask Lukaku what he told me, or what he asked. And it never came out, so I'm just curious to what that is. As much as I would like to sign Lukaku, I think there's other strikers I'd rather have. Are you of the same mind? Or do you think he's...
I don't want to give too much away because this video is going up tomorrow about Ibrahimovic that I filmed last night. But no, I'm happy to talk about it because there's an interesting bit about Ibrahimovic is that his agent is the same agent as Pogba. So people might think, oh, we're not going to do any deals with him. But that's the same agent that Sergio Romero's got. So we will do deals with him. But it's also the same agent as Lukaku. And I think Lukaku is very interesting because I know a lot of people would like Harry Kane. It's not going to happen. They've got Champions League football. He's a Spurs lad. He should stay there. But it's only a yellow card. I thought they'd sent off a City player, which would be absolutely fantastic. Gamestro, I've read your comment. I'm not going to read it out because you just keep going on and on about it, and that is not what's happened. So just to play along with your game, I'm not going to read out your comments. So yeah, Lukaku. Last summer, we were doing all the transfer shows, and we'll be doing loads of transfer stuff this summer. So do subscribe and get involved. I liked Lukaku last summer and said we should sign him, and that was before this fantastic season he's had. And most of this season, I've said Lukaku's great, but then recently I've seen him against United, especially in the cup final, where he didn't do anything really wrong. He had about 4 or 5 chances he should have scored from, but what he showed me is a bit of a bottler, and that concerns me because if you're going to be a United player and we want to get to the top again, that mentality worries me a little bit. That he's a big game bottler. He's got everything. He's Premier League proven. He's very young still. He's been playing for a long time. He's strong. He's powerful. He's the quintessential number 9. But to be honest with you, would I take 23-year-old Lukaku or 1 season of Ibrahimovic? I think I'd take Ibrahimovic. But it's a big question to ask, Joey. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just not. I like Lukaku. I think he's a good player, but I just don't. Something about him I don't like. I can't really, put my finger on it. But I think part of it is, he loves to go to that left foot, almost too much. I think he has to expand his game a little bit more. Yes, he scores goals with his right and he scores goals with his head. I don't know. He's big and he's strong, but there's just something about him. I'd rather have, like you said, Ibrahimovic, Martial, and then, another striker that was maybe a little bit taller. Like Alvaro Morata. That's one that's been. I don't know if you did that if you did Red Rumors with, but the word is that if Mourinho comes to us, and Morata wants to play for United, and I would take Alvaro Morata over Lukaku with Ibrahimovic though.
I'll say it live on air because if people want to tweet stuff out like this, then that's up to them. Stan Collymore, who I do follow, and I like Stan. He's tweeted it out, so it's in the public domain. I'm more than happy to put this out. Old Trafford employee texts me to say someone tried to do something in the 100 Club. Sniffer dogs everywhere looking for second package. Next tweet: package was a phone attached to a pipe with wires hanging from it, found by customer in the toilet. Breaking source is 100% correct. Man is in shock. Phone connected to pipe and wires in Old Trafford toilet. Talk Sport on air live. Stan Collymore. Military imminent at Old Trafford. So that starts to turn your stomach a bit. I mean, I'm sort of glad that we have stayed live for the City result, obviously, but also that stuff like that is coming out because it makes you sick. I mean, we spoke about it about half an hour ago, and it sort of develops along, and that is massively. It turns your stomach, doesn't it, Joey? Really?
It does because it's either something very serious, with terrorism, or it's some jerk off, thinking this is funny, somebody doing it for a prank. It's just the world we live in.
I mean,
Society is. I don't know. I hate people. I just think that I don't know. Maybe it's just where I'm at, and I don't want to get into this, but yeah, the human race has failed.
I think any act of that sort of thing is cowardice. I don't care what you cause, it's cowardice, isn't it? To go and do something in a place where people are going to, I was going to say enjoy themselves, but they were going to watch United under Van Gaal. But they definitely, it's bad enough watching Van Gaal without somebody trying to blow you up. And I'm not even joking when I say that. It's ridiculous. I mean, I never believe anything until it's in the proper press. And I'm not saying that Stan Collymore and TalkSport aren't the proper press, but it seems to me that information is coming through from a text, and
sounds like a pipe bomb.
Yeah, which is quite amateurish. Just like that Ichenarchu's finish there. I tell you what, if he's anywhere near Rashford, no chance. He's had two really good chances, and he's.
I heard they try and compare him to Martial.
Yeah.
So you're not Martial. You're not even Rashford.
No, he's not. He's got a lot to learn. He's Lukaku awful. Worth watching that one, on Match of the Day.
Awful haircut as well.
Nasri coming on for City. He's got a knack of being quite an important player, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, if there, my doubts about it was, and I'm not doubting anything. I'm just saying that when people do bombs, they tend to make sure they blow off, and the old pipe bomb and leaving it in toilets is very, a couple of decades ago. Doesn't normally happen in what happens now. They're going for maximum mayhem and making sure it goes off. So it wouldn't fit in with the likes of your Al Qaeda's and your ISIS, which I don't really want to spend much time talking about. Leicester are losing, Chelsea have scored, but there's obviously something in it. So we'll just have to see what develops. And all I would say is it just makes my stomach turn. That not even that obviously United fans, that's my priority, but any football fan, it's sickening that you can go to a game and people want to do that.
You ready for this?
Go on.
Hardly important now, but if game is not replayed before Sunday or before Saturday, then Fellaini is suspended for the cup final.
Ah, bloody hell! Van Gaal will insist the game gets played.
Yeah, immediate. That was Samuel Luckhurst, who I believe is with the Manchester Evening News. Hey, wow, that'd be interesting.
Maybe there's a conspiracy theory there. Maybe there is. Maybe somebody just doesn't want Fellaini playing in the cup final. I don't know.
It's not you, is it?
No, I don't terrorism of any kind at all. Greeklish Manx says, Mark, don't get political. I'm not getting political at all. I'm just I don't know whether it's true. I don't know whether and I certainly have no idea who's done it. It could be anybody, so it's not political. That
isn't even political anyway.
No.
That's just
I just
political.
Don't condone it.
You up here, talking about policies and what you think's best for your country. We're talking about a group of cowards who put a pipe bomb in a bathroom. That's not political. That's current events. That's news, and it's relevant because it's at Old Trafford.
Swansea could have got in then. What we got? This is the sort of time we want Swansea to start scoring. 100%, please.
I'm just nervous that Wilfred Bonny's coming on. It looks like, and he sees to do pretty well against
his old club.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at any of the scores for a long time, but it's a bit of a it's a bit of a damp squib last game of the season anyway, isn't it? Especially if this turns out to be true, which we do not want.
Everton are up 3-0.
Everton, what a surprise, turning it on. But then again, Norwich have been relegated. 2-1 Newcastle, Tottenham, Newcastle. But I think Newcastle have a penalty.
No, Newcastle has just scored. It's 3-1 now.
3-1 to Newcastle. So Arsenal will finish ahead of Spurs. Spurs is just a glutton for punishment. They, when it comes to Arsenal, they just they really.
It's
are.
funny too because some fans will be, I know they're split with the Wenger in, Wenger out. If I were an Arsenal fan, I'd kill myself, but I would be Wenger out because I would just, I would realize that the sun has set on him. However, this now will give. Go ahead.
Newcastle are actually down to 10 men as well. It's even better, isn't it, for good old Spurs? But they are a bunch of bottlers, as we well and truly know. Stuart Marston says, "What about playing tonight?" Well, let's be honest, if there is a proper package in there, then there's no way. I don't think it will get played for a couple of days because there'll be all sorts of forensics all over it, which you've got to consider. I mean, we don't want it to be real anyway, but if it is real...
Go ahead, sorry. I was just thinking about this. I was looking at a tweet. I think that we should sign Wijnaldum.
He's done
What do
very
you think
well,
about
hasn't he?
that?
Yeah, he's done very well at Newcastle.
I mean, at Newcastle. I mean, if you can score goals in Newcastle, you can score goals in in LVG's United, but hopefully he won't be here. Yeah, because I think he's got that work rate. I think he can play in any of the positions behind the striker. I think he can even play central midfield. He's got a year under his belt. He's hungry. You can tell he's hungry. He seems like a good guy. Like when you look at him, you see him in interviews and things like that. He seems like a guy that's got his head on his shoulders. He's good. He wants to be great. So I think Wijnaldum would be a fantastic signing.
We are approaching the last. This season's just been torture, hasn't it? But we are approaching 15 minutes left of the new Man City Swansea game. If Swansea win, Manchester United just have to beat Bournemouth to get 4th place, and this is exactly what I didn't want to happen. I know it's 1-1, but it's a bit like if it had been 0-0. We didn't want it like this going into the last 10 minutes. It's given us hope. There's a little bit of a smile on my face, but it's also a draw isn't enough anyway. We need Swansea to win, so it's not the same as. I mean, one of the worst things I've ever watched in my footballing watching career was that Aguero QPR thing, and I would never ever want Mark Hughes at Manchester United manager for this. And I know people have spoken about him being United manager.
Sparky.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Sparky there?
Well, for anybody who watched that, and I don't condone that you do watch it again because it was absolute torture, but in the 90th minute, City needed to score 2 goals to win the league. You've been on the edge of your seat there for 90 minutes, hoping it gets to 90 minutes. It does. The 4 minutes go up. City need to score 2. You're quite optimistic that you're going to win the league. And then Dzeko scored with about 2 minutes left. Well, I think it was only a minute left. And Hughes comes to the side because QPR could have been relegated, but the game that relegates them is already finished and they're safe. And Hughes comes to the sidelines. Oh, City nearly scored then. So Hughes comes to the sidelines and goes like this. It's over, we're safe. And now all the QPR players, you can see, just suddenly just give in. And from the kick-off, they just boot it straight to City. And then City go at the other end, Aguero scores. So, for me, I'd never want Hughes. And he openly admitted when we played Chelsea in the Cup final a few years ago that he wanted Chelsea to win. Why people think Hughes has got United in his heart, I do not know. You really do not know your history. He's not, I'm sure he likes United. He spent some years
Here you go. Would you rather have Big Sam or Hughes? You have to pick.
It'd have to be Hughes, wouldn't it? Because Big Sam's football is, unfortunately in life, if you're given a 50-50 choice, then I wouldn't want Big Sam at United. Well, actually, you know what? I probably would like Big Sam because at least he'd be passionate.
Wasn't that the joke though? Big LVG's just a Dutch Sam Allardyce.
Yeah. I think that's unfair. That's very unfair on Big Sam because at least he shows some passion, and that's what you'll get with Mourinho. You'll get somebody who will be up on the sidelines and. When
we score the winner against Arsenal at the Emirates, you could see him just running down the touchline, sliding on his knees right in front of Wenger.
10 minutes for Swansea to do it. Well, 12 minutes for Swansea to do us a favour. Feeling a bit sick inside. I don't know why. I mean, obviously, I'm very concerned that there was a bomb at Old Trafford, but if there was one. But I'm just starting to think, can they do this? Can Swansea produce something? They look like they're having a go. I mean, it's a bit exhibition, but they are having a go.
So it's what it is. It's players playing for a spot in the team. They're trying to impress the manager, and I respect that about them. That they're not rolling over.
There's a good point here, Joe, actually. It's from at Andrew_James95. I like to always give people a shout out. I don't know how many followers he's got, or even if he's a United fan. But he's saying, behind closed doors match, the only option for United has to be played before the cup final. Too many problems if played after. And that is something that has not come into my mind.
It's not going to be behind closed doors. They're going to make... Because you have to sell, the TV... You have the TV rights, and... During the halftime, they have the commercials. They got to pay the sponsors and things like that. And there's no way it'll happen behind closed doors because they're not going to refund everybody's ticket price either.
But if it's a genuine bomb, then it won't happen. Probably Old Trafford will not be available to be used for at least, I would say, 48 hours because they'll have to go through so much.
The whole thing.
Forensics, CCTV.
But here's my concern too: is if there's something at Old, I would be on alert at every stadium right now. You know, I would have security. I'd have the police there. I'd have everybody because, like I said, if there's something going on at Old Trafford today, you know, maybe there's something going on at the other stadiums too.
Yeah,
And
well,
I mean,
it's
that's a
simultaneous.
scary
That's what
thought.
they like, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's another thing that if you're talking about recent horrific events, they tend to do not one event at the same time. It's maximum impact. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that. I mean, the reality is, all I can tell you is what I said a few minutes ago, which is
Did he just bail him out? Did
Stan-
Sonya just bail him out? What's the call? You're ahead. Oh, Crystal Palace have scored. Yay.
Well,
That makes me nervous.
Sanya's on a yellow card, so. No,
Is that why he's trying to?
No. He's just done his knee.
Talk about winning off the pitch. Sonya's wife. Woohoo!
She's nice.
Smoking hot. Which makes it weird because, like, I'm pretty sure he probably started, you know, fooling around with her when he had that stupid haircut. That's a foul. That's a foul on Sonya. Like, he fouled him.
Well, I'm
Fouled
wondering
the
if
Swansea.
that's what Mike Dean thinks, but I think actually he probably did.
He stepped on the back of his calf, and now he's trying to claim he hurt his knee, but he's faking that. I don't think he hurt his knee.
Well, we may as well sort of.
Gomez, Bafétimbi Gomez is getting warmed up. It looks like, is that Montero? Why the hell would you take Montero off? I don't know. Bafétimbi Gomez, winner, 92nd minute.
We'd take it, wouldn't we? Well, I don't know whether we take it. I
would take an own goal right now. No, I mean,
if it means Van
like
Gaal
I said,
stays, I don't know.
And that's what disappoints me is it shouldn't be because he gets top four or because he doesn't. I think you look at the body of work, you look at the money, you just look at everything and just no, he's got to go. Like even if he gets top four, I just feel like that shouldn't be, you know, his like I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it shouldn't be, you know, based on if he gets top four or not. He should be gone. Period. But yeah, he's fine. Sonya's fine. He knew he was on a yellow and he wasn't trying to be sent off. It would just be gut wrenching though because it would be a typical. A controlled explosion has been carried out within the stadium by bomb disposal experts. That is from the GM Police, Greater Manchester Police Twitter.
2-0 to Arsenal. 3-0
Not
to
even
Arsenal.
a minute.
Jerry's just got a hat-trick in the space of about 2 minutes.
Instead of challenging the title, Arsenal fans are happy they're finishing above Tottenham. Small club mentality, that.
And Leicester, defying the odds again, they've come back to 1-1.
Whoa. Is that Giroud's has a hat-trick, I'm hearing.
Yeah. So I'm screwed because I don't have him in my fantasy football team, and I'm sure somebody around me somewhere will have gone for Giroud as captain. Miles Pardew, Mark, if you miss out on top four because of goal difference, do you think Louis van Gaal will use that as an excuse to stay? To be honest, I think it's the worst thing that can happen for Van Gaal because I think it really highlights what a lot of United fans feel, that we're boring, we don't score enough goals, and as I said, we are 92nd out of the 92 clubs in England for goals at home, which is appalling. Theatre of dreams. It's the theatre of screams. It's appalling. So
what's even more appalling is that we have one of the best defensive records, and our goal difference is that shit.
Because
that
it's
tells
so
you
defensive,
everything.
though. Because it's so defensive, isn't it? If you've got a good defensive record and you're scoring goals, I'll applaud that. But anybody can have a good defensive record and hardly score any because you just defend, and that's what we do. And that's one thing I would say about Blind as well. I'm not undercutting him and saying he hasn't had a good season, but he's playing in a very defensive team, and he's been shielded by two defensive midfielders most games. Playing as a centre back in that sort of environment, it's not that bad. City look pretty. Oh no, he's kept it in. I think in many ways, Aguero stops there. In many ways, if this finishes in a draw at City with City, and we beat Bournemouth, which we should do, and we finish on the same points as City for fourth place, I think City fans will be mugging us off big time because they'll go, "Look how rubbish you are, and you're still, we finished level with them and we lose it on goal
I
difference.
don't think they have a leg to stand on with that argument, especially with all the money they spent.
They'll laugh about it because they'll go, "You're so rubbish," and
they don't care. But it's a stupid argument. Like,
well,
you have De Bruyne.
I've got it wrong. You flip it the other way. Look, as bad as we are, and we've been horrific, we still managed to get the same points as City, but we miss out on it because of goal difference. I think it'd be even more sickening because we lost the title on goal difference.
And we went unbeaten against them, a draw and a win.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, was that the worst game of the season? That first Manchester derby, how boring that was? Was that the worst? I think that might have been the worst game of the season in terms of entertainment. Maybe somebody in the comments. It was 0-0. Oh, no, the 0-0. Yeah. Remember how boring? I would ask the comments. That's a good question for the comments. Most boring game this season.
It's been
and I'm going with the Manchester. Man, I'm going with the Manchester derby. Yeah, the one against Everton, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think one of the best. Going back to Watford getting rid of their manager. Was it Watford or was it Crystal Palace? I think it was Watford. It was Watford, I'm sure it was. Around January and February time. It was a Wednesday night game. And they absolutely battered us, but couldn't score. Igala, he's gone off the ball.
Yeah.
And Mata scored right at the end with a free kick. And they battered us at Old Trafford. They should have won that game hand over fist. And
Igalo had like 7 chances in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, and they absolutely destroyed us across the pitch. Defensively, midfield, they bossed the midfield. They created things. They played really, really well. And they lost it because we got a free kick at the end and Mata scored. It was a total smash and grab. And they've sacked that manager. I mean, it makes me laugh. I've seen Watford twice. And we did a smash and grab at Watford in November as well. Memphis got a goal right at the end.
No, he got it at the beginning. Schweinsteiger we got an own goal, remember?
Oh, yeah. But so we took 6 points off Watford, and they probably had deserved at least 4. The worst game I watched was probably Anfield. That was a total smash and grab. We were awful, and we beat them.
You know how I got really drunk for that game at the pub because that was the only way I think I could have watched that game.
It's the only game I've watched this season, and I didn't react to it and go mad because I'm happy to beat Liverpool any day of the week, and to beat them like that is quite funny. But yeah, it was a total.
That was Rooney scored in that game. That was what a bad game.
Well, this game is sort of twittering out, but you just sort of hope.
Speaking on Igalo, I would take Igalo, and if Ibrahimovic was coming, and that would be your stable of strikers, Igalo, Martial, and Ibrahimovic, I would take that.
What the hell's gone wrong with Spurs? They're 5-1 down, but Newcastle have got 10 men.
Like I said, they checked out. They're on vacation already.
Well, it just shows. Oh God, he'd be booked for that. Played it on. Bad tackle there from City player. I don't know why. If he's on a yellow card, he should be off. City have been dreadful, absolutely dreadful. I don't know whether anybody's watching it, but it just digs it in that as bad as we've been, we should have took 4th place this year. We should have took 4th place.
So that is kind of scary though. That confirmed controlled explosion. That was a bomb.
Oh right.
Luckily, So luckily, it didn't. Nobody was hurt. But yeah,
it really does. It really does make you feel sick. That is. It's the old cliche, but football doesn't matter on days like that because you just think, well, there'll be a lot of fallout over the coming days as to the extent of what the damage could have been, where it was, who's behind it, I'm sure, and all that. The sad thing is with these things is that people come out and quite happily claim it, even though it's nothing to do with them, because that's the sort of world those people operate in. But if that's true, it's very sad. Just for everybody as well, when the City game finishes, I don't think we want to stay on air for that long afterwards, but I will be doing a reaction to the Bournemouth game because it's all set up, and I may as well do sort of a 5-minute summary of what's happened with the City thing, and hopefully Swansea will score, and also we'll touch a little bit on that. So I will do one, but it'll probably be
so have you know that ongoing joke of with Tottenham, that's so Spursy, like that's just like a Spurs thing to do, like being like 2-1 up and then losing, or it's just like, what's the word, Spursiness, and it's just typical from them. And I saw a tweet that said how they're dealing with, I believe, 2 suspensions. What are they going to do in the Champions League? Because Pochettino's a good manager, but I would like to. Hopefully, we'll get a chance, to talk about the other teams too, because I know we're in a United channel. We got to kind of talk about the competition a little bit too. Maybe not in this stream, but on another video. That's a good idea. Because I would like to think do you think Tottenham? This would be a question. Do you think Tottenham can sign the players that they need to sign to get them to the championship? To the Premier League title, or to the later rounds of the Champions League.
We can, Joe, but I didn't actually realise that Aguero's going off. We are 1 minute into the 3 minutes.
Oh shit!
I thought there was a little bit longer left. It's sort of flown by. So we'll focus on this.
That's a topic for another video. I think we could do about our rivals.
West Ham are losing at Stoke, so I don't know what the league looks like. Let's have a quick look. Southampton have pummeled Crystal Palace. And correct me if I'm wrong. The reality is a point against Bournemouth, and we'll get 5th place anyway. It only matters if Swansea can score in this game, which I don't think they're going to do. But I might be wrong. I mean, Swansea. The thing, it doesn't matter to Swansea. They're quite happy to pass it back to the goalkeeper. They're not going to be. If they were going for a win here, the keeper would be blasting it forward up into the penalty box. He's not. He's just playing it to his fullback. The fullback's turned round. He's passed it back to. Stoke have beaten West Ham. Or are beating West Ham. This might be it for Swansea.
Launch the goddamn ball forward.
Still 50 seconds left, but it's not in the half we want it to be. There's no urgency from Swansea, I'm afraid. It's not likely to. And why was there ever going to be? I mean, let's not forget Swansea put out their reserves in this game, and even then, what annoys me is that, as Joey said and as I said the other night, a point against West Ham wasn't a bad result, and I think Van Gaal and everybody just seemed to forget that. It was like when we were 3-2 down, this is gone. And a point it always gave us a chance, because City would have had to win this game.
What is he doing, man? I know I'm behind you, but the keeper, let's go. What are you doing?
And Swansea have got no players in the box. The goalie could have launched that then.
What are you,
They're passing it back. There's just absolutely no desire to try and score a goal. They've hit it forward now. Hope that Swansea can get the second ball. They haven't.
Give me a penalty.
Free kick for City. I think he's going to blow, and 4th place is gone. The whistle's gone. 4th place is gone.
Told you. Hey, you know what's funny is there was that glimmer of hope we were talking about. But I think me and you were saying it almost a month, maybe even more than a month ago, that it wasn't going to happen. And there it is. I hate to say I told you so, but told you so. Not you, but the viewers.
I think, what, if we were just talking about football, we'd probably be going, Van Gaal's got to go, which we already all knew. City have done what we expected. I think the sad thing is that if we beat Bournemouth, which I think we will do, or would have done, then we'd be looking at the Premier League and going, well, we're finished on the same points as City and we lose it on goal difference. And we've kept tweeting this out throughout the season, and we've kept saying this, but it was never a joke. Moyes was sacked on 34 games with 57 goals scored. We're still struggling now to get to the mid-40s, and it's cost us 4th place, because goal difference, if we beat Bournemouth, will be the reason we're not in 4th place. And, you can defend Van Gaal all you like. We just don't score enough goals because he's a negative manager, and that's why we've lost it. But all I would say as well is that it seems to me there is a bomb being found at Old Trafford, and football doesn't really matter when things like that happen. So we'll just have to see what comes in the coming days. But the City thing's no surprise, Joey.
Nope, not at all. Which is why, like you said, a draw would have been the minimum required, which is crazy, because if we would have got a draw, we could have beat Bournemouth and been in 4th. That just shows you how bad City are, how bad we are, and I hope this will be a season not to remember.
Thanks for coming on, Joey. I'm sure you're going to be involved with us. I don't know what your plans are for the FA Cup, but we have got a big watch-along starting a few hours before, so you might be able to pop on for half an hour or so before the game. We'll have to see. But Joe will be involved, obviously, throughout the summer. Manchester United stand goes nowhere. In many ways, we hopefully get this nonsense that's gone out at Old Trafford, and it hopefully won't be as serious as we're hearing it is. We focus on getting rid of Van Gaal, we get Marino in, and then we have an exciting few months of transfers and everything like that, and Joe will be a part of that, I'm sure. So lots going on the United stand. Thanks for everybody who's been watching. I haven't got the link ready yet. I'm probably going to be about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to do a sort of live reaction to the City and what's going on with Liverpool, with the stuff at Old Trafford, just for 5 minutes. And we will be live at 9 o'clock, obviously. Where did it all go wrong? We can say that now in a football sense because we haven't got top 4. Join us for that at 9 o'clock. I'll have a match reaction later. Thanks for Joe for joining me. Mixed feelings, mixed day. Sometimes football isn't that important, but thanks for watching. Speak to you all soon.
See you later.